Oscar's beginning in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201. Oscar followed the staff to the spirit fighting arena in the center. The scale of the fighting spirit arena is very large. Of course, the largest auditorium is the auditorium with spectators sitting in a circle. This one is a big ball of lights that shines with lights of various colors. And on top of this light ball stands a handsome young man. This young man is the host, commentator and referee of the game. It can be seen how high this young man's salary is. He is definitely the salary in the fighting spirit arena. The tallest one. Oscar looked up at him and immediately spit out 2 words. Bad review. It would be great if this was a young lady. The host of Suoto City, played by someone else in the animation, is a big sister with a hot body and good looks with wings. How seductive it looks. What kind of attention can this man attract? Oscar went to the stage in vain. The host didn't introduce Oscar too much because he knew nothing about Oscar. He didn't even write his name on the information given to him. This kid is so mysterious it couldn't be more mysterious. Compared with Oscar walking slowly onto the stage, the aura exuding from Douluo's body was very frightening. Every step he took gave off a very strong bloodthirsty aura. The two of them didn't say a word. Since they wanted to fight, they didn't need to talk at all. They both breathed a sigh of relief and were ready to kill each other with one blow. While the young host was making preparations, Oscar and Douluo released their martial spirits together. The release of Oscar's martial spirits was very simple. A sausage appeared in his hand when he raised his hand. As his martial spirit was released, the surrounding audience suddenly laughed because this little brat turned out to be a soul master of the food department, which is a big deal. The food type soul master is basically an assistant and has no ability to attack at all. So how can he defeat Douluo? And Douluo's martial soul is not as rough as his surface. The moment his martial soul was released, even Oscar was taken aback because the martial soul released by Douluo turned out to be a sharp tail with the highest speed. Swift. Oscar thought to himself, this sharp-tailed swift martial spirit is too obvious. This is the inherited martial spirit of the Munsi clan, one of the affiliated families of the Haoshianzang. That is to say, this Douluo, who is tall and thick, is actually a member of the Munsi clan. Needless to say how poor the minimum clan is. The poor master who can't even afford 120 gold soul coins is so poor that it is really called ding dong, and the depressed members of the minimum clan have to come out by themselves maintain livelihood. As a member of the minimum clan, Douluo will of course come out to make money. He is making money for the minimum clan in this soul fighting arena. As for why he kills, because his attack method is to kill, and if he doesn't kill, he can't defeat the opponent at all. With the sharp-tailed swift martial soul, the speed is naturally top-notch existence, and precisely because their speed is too fast, their attack methods are generally nirvana. If they don't make a move, they will kill the opponent in an instant, and the martial souls of his team members are not the sharp-tailed swifts, but they are not good birds. They are all flying bird martial souls. The 7 of them turned out to be from the minimum family. If you say this, it is normal for them to kill people, and after a few times of death as a team that matches them, they will directly admit defeat. Then they will change to another place and continue to make money. And they stayed in this Sylph's Great Soul Arena for the longest time this time, because there are a lot of second strokes here, and they know that they will die if they make a move, and there will be many people who don't believe in evil, so they just want to give it a try. So they began to comfort themselves with one sentence: if you have money, you don't make money, you bastards. Who would have trouble with such a magic weapon as money? And there is also a team that is similar to them all the time. This team appeared later than them. This team is called the Fierce God Team, so the two teams secretly compete with each other, but their name is still more fierce. Yes, because their appearance is instant kill. It's not that their two teams finally collided, and Douluo had already figured out that after today, he would take these brothers to another place. Then it's time to fight. Oscar came out to beat the Vicious God Team to win, which made them very confused. How could they be weaker than the Vicious God Team? He was quite unconvinced. Oscar is also very confused now. This stupid big guy is actually a member of the minimum family, so how could they not be able to beat that Mengli? That Mengli's martial soul is just a berserk giant bear, and the rest of the trash is also a soul master of the assault system. It is completely incomparable to meet the fastest minimum family in the mainland point, so his gold soul coins went cold. Isn't this just kidding? You are from the minimum family. You should have said it earlier. Isn't this sending money to the Great Spirit Arena? No, I can't give money as long as I beat this Douluo to the point where he can't participate in the follow-up battle. Then the Fierce God team won't necessarily lose to their Killing God team. Oscar thought of this and put away his martial soul because he knew that with his sausage martial soul, he would definitely not be able to defeat Douluo, who had the fastest martial soul in the whole continent. And when he withdrew his martial soul, all the audience, including Douluo, thought that Oscar wanted to admit defeat, because how could a food type soul master defeat an agility type soul master? And this soul master of the agility attack system also has the fastest martial soul on the mainland. Hahaha, you are so good. As long as you admit defeat, I will let you go. Even if you have the foresight, you know that it is impossible to defeat me with your martial spirit. Douluo smiled proudly opposite Oscar. Oscar didn't talk to him, because he didn't have to talk to him either. It's better to speak with the facts, whether to admit defeat or not. Just when everyone thought he was going to admit defeat, but in the next moment they realized that they were wrong, and they were still very wrong. How could he admit defeat? He is going to kill everyone present. It's no wonder they thought so, because Oscar actually released Little Kaylin directly. There is no rule about using spirit beasts in the soul fighting arena, so it is completely reasonable for him to release Little Kaylin. The moment Zyro Kaylin was released by Oscar, she became extremely large, so big that it surrounded the entire spirit fighting arena for a week, and her head was attached to Oscar's side, and the words she uttered were particularly scary. Some timid audiences were directly frightened and fainted, and some who were slightly better fainted after uttering a scream, and some with particularly scary expressions kept howling. Anyway, the audience watching, none of them left their seats, because they are all people who don't mind watching the excitement. This was the first time they had seen such a big soul beast. Although they couldn't tell how old the soul beast was, it must be a very powerful existence. And the moment Little Kaylin appeared, there were untraceable people in every corner of the Great Soul Arena. These were the Soul Masters protecting the Great Soul Arena, but they were a little guilty now, because of their strength. This is the strength of the Soul Emperor. Cough cough, the sensitive family, who is going to show up. End of this chapter. Chapter 202. Put Little Kaylin on the Great Soul Arena. The 6-color swallowing python, the 10,000-year soul beast, appeared in the Silver's Great Soul Arena, and the effect it caused was terrifying. Just look at the attitude of the Great Soul Arena, the security soul master who has been maintaining order in the Great Soul Arena. It finally came in handy. They have always been paid, and don't have to work, because there is no one who makes troubles in the big soul fighting arena in the capital of a country. Isn't this looking for death? So when they receive wages on weekdays, they are really soft-handed, so their hands are specially designed to touch soft things, which is really cool. Today, however, they were forced to work hard. Little Kaylin's aura didn't need to erupt at all. They could feel it. The 10,000-year soul beast was not just talking. This 10,000-year soul beast appeared in so many people in a place like this. If one can't control it, it's almost dead. But after they saw that the 10,000-year soul beast was surrounding Oscar, their hearts were relieved. No matter how stupid they were, they could see that the 10,000-year soul beast, the 6-colored sky-swallowing python, was the child's pet. I'm quite curious about which family's shocking young master this is, who actually appeared in their small country, and they have never heard of the young master who has a 10,000-year soul beast as a beast pet. Comparing the security guards and the spectators in the auditorium of these big spirit fighting arenas, there is one person who feels differently from them, and this person is Douluo. Douluo is very proud of his martial soul, because his sharp-tailed swift is the fastest martial soul on the mainland. He is very confident in his speed. He is confident that, if he makes a move, he can kill him instantly. Oscar, but he had no grievances with Oscar and just wanted to save face. It was not worth killing at all, and Oscar was the young master of that family at first sight. Although he belongs to the minimum clan, his status is not directly related, at most it is a collateral line, but he is more fortunate to awaken the sharp-tailed swift martial soul, and his collateral line can't afford to offend this young master at all. Instead, it will bring trouble to the family. So he decided to use his speed to frighten the kid into admitting defeat, but the development of things was completely beyond his expectation. Obviously what you released was an auxiliary martial soul, but when you put it away, everyone thought you were about to admit defeat. But what's the matter with you throwing out a big snake? He's not like those ordinary people and low-level soul masters in the auditorium, who don't know this guy. Needless to say, the size of this big one is super big. What he mainly looks at is not the size and length of the snake, but the colorful eyes on the snake. It doesn't matter if he looks at it. The hair stood up like static electricity. This snake actually has 6 colors, that is to say, it is a 6-colored sky-swallowing python, a 10,000-year soul beast. Very rare and very powerful existence. He didn't have to think about it at all. He must not be the opponent of this 10,000-year soul beast. No matter how fast he is, he can't be faster than the 10,000-year soul beast. The most important thing was that he was already surrounded by the 6-colored sky-swallowing python. It was impossible for him to defeat this child under the eyes of the 10,000-year-old soul beast. So he did something that everyone thought highly of him. He raised his hands and shouted, "I think. Good guy, he wants to admit defeat. How can Oscar let him admit defeat? If he admits defeat, then my 100,000 gold soul coins will be for nothing." Little Kaylin's tail had already hit Douluo on the back the moment he said I recognized him. Douluo thought that he would end up safe from injury. But he never expected that when he conceded defeat, his whole body would be blown away, and little Kaylin's huge tail would be pulled firmly on his body. His tall and strong body was directly thrown into the air, but he did not fly very far, because his body did not fall out of the field, but hit Kaylin's body, and then lay straight. He fell unconscious on the ground. Not to mention that he is a little soul master. Even if a soul emperor does not die under Kaylin's slap, his skin will be peeled off. Of course, Oscar did not let Kaylin kill him. Some troubles are inevitable. Oscar stood on the snake head with small colorful scales and came to the side of the host, who had stood on the headlight for a long time and hadn't announced his victory. The host almost peed in fear when he saw such a big snake head. His legs trembled a little and he trembled trembling. He wanted to say something, but he found that he couldn't say a word. Oscar imitated the master's pretense, and he said indifferently to the host with his hands behind his back, "Don't you declare my victory? Do I have to kill him before you can declare my victory?" After the host heard this, he hurriedly and tremblingly announced that the winner of this game was the young master. He didn't dare to call Oscar a child like he did during the introduction. In an instant, he would be swallowed by the big snake. The moment the host announced Oscar's victory, Oscar took little Kaylin back and stepped off the arena point. Now he only needs to wait for the fierce god team to defeat the killing god team, and the golden soul coin hits his kalarang before he can leave. He went back to the settlement office again. He was going to wait here to swipe his card, and when he came here, he found that the female staff member who had just paid him the bill had disappeared, but this time it was a different woman. Compared with the previous woman, this woman was much more beautiful, and her figure was comparable. The previous one was much hotter, and the moment Oscar walked over, the woman nodded to him, and her face was still slightly reddish. Of course Oscar knew that it was the person in charge of the big spirit fighting arena who was messing around. The previous staff members would definitely not end well. As for what the end would be, it was not Oscar's concern. She should also pay the price for her ignorance. The new female staff member came to Oscar's rest area because she didn't have any job. In fact, it wasn't Oscar's rest area. No one dared to rest beside him, and everyone was frightened away from him, and some even ran home in fright. The staff member was carrying a fruit plate and a bottle of unique drink. This drink was quite familiar to Oscar. "Isn't this green tea? Good guy, this endorsement has come here. Can you give me some advertising fees? Master, this is our unique fruit plate and drink in the Great Spirit Arena. Please use it slowly." The staff member was very smart and didn't say much and walked away shyly after putting it down. Her leaving made Oscar feel a little awkward. Why didn't anyone come to find fault? How boring is it to wait? No matter what, I have to set off my tall status. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, Bei Cheng Xiang, Minimum Family 1. Oscar's prophecies and oaths are quite accurate. For example, please refer to Helena who fell from the sky after the oath. This kind of thing is really miraculous. And now Oscar's prophecy has once again come true, because just a few minutes after he was resting here, a group of people surrounded him. Oscar was lying sprawled on a soft sofa eating fruit when suddenly a bunch of big heads appeared in his sight. These big heads Oscar was very familiar with, because these people were the other members of the Killing God team. What these team members came to him for, you don't need to think about it. He just let Zio Kalin knock Bailuo into the air. No, to be precise, he knocked Bailuo a waypoint. If their captain is abolished, of course these players will help their captain to avenge. Others wouldn't dare seek revenge on Oscar, but their minimum clan is also a well-known figure in the Douluo continent. If a member of the clan was beaten up, even if they knew they couldn't beat each other, they still wanted to seek justice. Point of course, this is also based on the fact that they have backup. The speed of their Minzi clan is not just talking. As long as one member of the clan is injured, the other clan members will rush there very fast. Their patriarch Bei is a talent who can fly across the Douluo continent in 3 days. Just ask if you are afraid at this speed. Although Bailuo's status is not as high as other members of the direct lineage, he is also a genius of the minimum family. Just because his martial spirit is a sharp-tailed swift, his status has reached the status of only this lineage member, even lower than some of the lineage members. Be taller, and this guy's ability to make money is still a good hand, which has brought huge benefits to their Minzi clan. It is impossible for their Minzi clan to watch Bailuo being bullied. Therefore, when Bailuo was beaten, these Bailuo's subordinates sent a team member to find rescuers, and the remaining 5 team members observed Bailuo's injury. Although the injury was not fatal, if they wanted to participate in the follow-up, it's also impossible to fight at least half a month of cultivation before getting out of bed. Thinking of this, they were all extremely angry that this little kid had hit him so hard, so they didn't care when the support arrived, leaving one person behind, and the remaining 4 came directly to find fault with Oscar up. And when they saw that Oscar was enjoying himself so much, they were even more angry. Their elder brother was still lying on the bed. This guy is still enjoying it here. They will definitely not win the battle with the Vicious God team, because they alone can't beat the 7 members of the Vicious God team. This is the disadvantage in numbers. Oscar looked at these 4 stupid big fools. He was very puzzled. Where did they get their excellent genes? The Minzi clan are also thin and small. How did they grow so big? Is it because the girls of Minzi clan like fat people? But they don't like fat people. Since I'm here, I will definitely not let the goddess of the minimum family like that fat man. Boy, since you dare to hurt my elder brother, others may be afraid of your 10,000-year soul beast, but our minimum clan will not be afraid of you. Boy, you are dead. You dare to mess with our Minzi clan. Our Minzi clan is a family that has a cloud-piercing arrow and thousands of troops come to see it. Our patriarch is already on his way. Boy. Oscar blinked his innocent peachy eyes. Why are these idiots so innocent? Where is this? This is the kingdom of Sylvester, a kingdom that does not shit. It would be nice for you idiots of the Minzi clan to be here. Do you think other Minzi clans will be around here? No matter how fast your patriarch Bei flies, he will have to fly for a day to get here. One day later, the young master had already run away. Are you idiots able to move your mouth? How about we have a fight too? Oscar said disdainfully, throwing a little actor into his mouth. These idiots were indeed like what Oscar said. When they came, they were angry and wanted to fight Oscar, but when they saw Oscar, they felt a little scared, because as soon as they saw Oscar, they felt a little scared. He thought that he had a 10,000-year soul beast on him. What if they just raised their hands? The 10,000-year soul beast would protect the Lord and swallow them up. They don't think that the Great Soul Arena will protect them. The people in the Great Soul Arena should still be hiding somewhere. to watch them have fun. What they think is indeed not wrong at all. The person in charge of the Great Spirit Arena is watching their situation from a small window under the protection of several soul emperors. It would definitely be a thankless effort to go out and stop them, so it would be better to watch the truth from the sidelines. If they really want to fight, they can't stop them. They just need to protect the ordinary people in the Great Soul Arena. For this reason, the person in charge has reported this matter to the King of Sylvis Kingdom. He believes that the kingdom I won't ignore this matter, and I will definitely send a soul sage to protect them here. But now the development of the matter seems to have taken him by surprise, because the support from the minimum clan has arrived. You fools, get out of the way. At this moment, a very immature girl's voice sounded. Oscar was excited when he heard this voice, because just by hearing this voice, he knew that this was a little beauty, and she was also a top-notch beauty. Oscar couldn't help but sat up and looked towards the source of the sound. After hearing the sound, the 4 idiots around him were startled with fright, quickly dodged out of the way, and stood respectfully. While bowing to the girl, he shouted respectfully, "Miss, Miss." Oscar's originally curious eyes suddenly became as big as a copper bell. The eldest lady of the minimum family, isn't that the goddess Bei Chengxiang? The person who came was indeed a beautiful girl. This girl looked slightly smaller than him. The girl was tall and well proportioned. Although she was a little thin, she was not thin where she shouldn't be, especially the proud twin peaks and her hips wrapped by the skirt. The arc is really beautiful, and her exposed slender waist is even more unbearable to support with both hands. She is wearing a lavender gauze skirt, which of course blocks everything that should be blocked. What makes Oscar slightly angry is that the girl's top is actually conjoined all the way to the white neck that couldn't help but want to take a bite point. But to Oscar's relief, her slender legs were actually wearing a pair of black stockings. The black made Oscar feel a little unbearable. This girl is even more beautiful. Her big eyes are purple pupils. She looks like a purple elf. Her small cherry mouth is pink. She looks even more attractive. Her long lavender hair is combed into two braids look even more flexible. Her slender, white, and delicate hands were pinching her waist like a water snake, and her beautiful eyes were staring fiercely at Oscar, and their eyes met at this moment. Oscar was overjoyed. It's still very fragrant, just don't know how fragrant she is. The little goddess is here. End of this chapter. Chapter 204 Bei Chengxiang. I'm about to start. And while Oscar was looking at Bei Chengxiang was also looking at Oscar. Oscar was not wearing the colorful flags on the sports field like before, and the big pants were flapping back and forth. Point after all, he doesn't have Xiao Wu by his side now, so he still needs to restrain himself. He was wearing a black outfit. Okay, in order to make it easier for him to travel, he had to wear the outfit that most soul masters on the Douluo continent wear. He looked very clean. He felt neat, but he couldn't see that he would be the young master of that big family, nor could he see how rich he was. Otherwise no one would have laughed at him for not having a mere 100,000 gold soul coins. If he was wearing big shorts, a top and a small vest, and gold and silver on his body like before, no one would dare to say that he has no money, and no one would look down on him. But as the eldest lady of a big family, Bei Chengxiang is not as vulgar as other people. A soul master who can still wear strong clothes all the time, then he must be a very powerful soul master, because he can fully use his strength at any time play out. And Bei Chengxiang is also like this. In order to make her faster, that's why she didn't wear a top that shows a ditch for a ride. So much wind, isn't that a lot of resistance for no reason? So she's wearing something that allows her to reach her full speed all the time. Oscar's image made her very satisfied. At least in her eyes, this boy who was slightly older than her didn't look as arrogant and domineering as the tribe who sent her the message described. As the eldest lady of the minimum clan, she has always been very calm. She knows the integrity of her clan members who make money in the major soul arenas, bringing a lot of gains. Her grandfather didn't care about them. But as the eldest lady of the Minxi clan, she has to stand up for her clan. Otherwise she will definitely chill the hearts of other clansmen. After all, the Minxi clan is so poor now. Otherwise she wouldn't have no decorations at all, belt, not even an earring, let alone a ring or something like that. Don't look at Bei Chengxiang is only 7 years old now, but she thinks far more than other people of the same age. She must now get back the face of the minimum clan. After the 4 idiots cleared the way for her, she walked towards Oscar step by step. When she came to Oscar, she found that she was half a head shorter than Oscar. She proudly raised her head and looked straight at looking at Oscar. He stretched out his hand and pointed to the tip of Oscar's nose with his slender fingers. I'm Bei Chengxiang from the Munsi clan. You hurt my clansman. Do you dare to fight with me? Oops, this little princess of the minimum family is a bit arrogant, but I like it, Oscar replied with a smile. Okay, I have always admired the minimum clan's amazing speed and is known for its dexterity. I have long wanted to fight against the minimum clan, but are we here? Bei Chengxiang said without hesitation. Of course it's here. It's so spacious, and there's no one else there. You idiots. Go and inform the person in charge of the Great Spirit Arena, and I'll borrow the venue here with him, and say we'll be quick. Just a few minutes. Bei Chengxiang didn't feel at all that there was another layer of meaning in her words. This kind of meaning was really easy for others to misunderstand, especially these 4 idiots. They secretly understood the meaning of their young lady. They thought, is it love at first sight for the young lady? They even drove us away and let us clear the venue. What are they doing here? Just a few minutes. In a daze, they pulled away the new female staff sitting at the bar and drove away all the Peking people by the way. And now there are only Oscar and Bei Chengxiang left in this large space. Bei Chengxiang is embarrassed. She knows that those stupid people must have misunderstood her meaning. No matter how calm she is still a girl. It is still very shy to encounter this kind of thing. Especially the opposite is a boy who is similar to her. It is the first time she has been in a room alone with a boy when she grows up. Although this room is a bit big, it is also a room that belongs to them alone. The space between the two of them made her face blush, in stark contrast to before. Although Oscar enjoyed the atmosphere, he knew that there were still people peeping at them, especially a little old man who was staring at them from the small window. So he and Bei Chengxiang couldn't do much now, so he still wanted to have fun. After solving the troubles, it would be better to receive the golden soul coins. After all, he bought 100, and if he pays 10 times that amount, that would be million golden soul coins. If he has these 100 million gold soul coins, he will be a big local tyrant among the local tyrants, and when he gives it to Shishemin's clan, wouldn't Bei Chengxiang be grateful to him? Although it would not be a physical promise, it would also make them close friends without gaps, and Oscar is absolutely confident that their relationship will turn into a negative gap by then. That's why Oscar is very puzzled right now. He looked down at Bei Chengxiang and said, first we have agreed not to use soul beasts, when shall we start? When Bei Chengxiang heard what he said, she thought wildly and withdrew. Now she became very angry again. A delicate girl like me stood in front of him, yet he still wanted to fight. What a silly, super straight and super tough boy. Okay, then let's start now. Bei Chengxiang took a few steps back, separating the space between them. Oscar made a very elegant gesture of invitation and said, Shrek Academy student Oscar, I'm asking for advice. Shrek. Bei Chengxiang curled her lips in disdain, but she has never heard of this name, so it doesn't look like a good place. She smiled alluringly at the corner of her mouth and said, Bei Chengxiang of the minimum family, I'm about to start. Come on. Oscar said indifferently with his hands behind his back. As soon as Oscar's words fell, Bei Chengxiang started to move. Bei Chengxiang's speed was really too fast. Oscar only saw a flash of black stockings, and Bei Chengxiang came in front of him. Fortunately, his current soul power level has reached level, otherwise he would really suffer from Bei Chengxiang. Even if Bei Chengxiang is an outstanding genius, she is only more than 10 levels of soul power now, which is not as good as Oscar. It's not a star. Oscar's feet moved, flashing to the left, and at the same time, Bei Chengxiang's body flashed in front of him, and their 4 eyes met in the air. The moment was very fast, but they could clearly see the light in each other's eyes. Incredible. They were all amazed at each other's speed. The speed of minimum ZHI clan is indeed the fastest in the mainland, even if Oscar's spirit power level is far away from Bei Chengxiang. He was almost hit by Bei Chengxiang's chest. That's right, it was the chest attack, because Bei Chengxiang's grasping gesture was exactly the same as grabbing. If Oscar hadn't dodged just now, Bei Chengxiang would have screamed in pain. I recommend a new book by Nanan. The title is Douluo. Let Tang Heo build an axe at the beginning. The pseudonym is the title Coachman. Book famine bosses can go and have a look. Okay, end of this chapter. Chapter 205. Bei Chengxiang is crying. Oscar suddenly didn't dare to be careless anymore. He took out a flying mushroom sausage from the soul guide and ate it. It was something he was prepared for. Anyway, it had a shelf life, as long as he got up in the morning and made two. And in his the moment you eat it, a pair of crystal clear wings emerged from his back. The wings looked very beautiful behind him, as if they were elves. Of course, it would be even better if the girl had such wings behind her. And at the same time that Oscar's wings emerged, Bei Chengxiang's body jumped up lightly, and those little feet wearing high heels lightly tapped the ground with their toes, and swept over again at a faster speed than before. And her little hand was still attacking Oscar with a grabbing gesture. Oscar felt helpless. Why did Bei Chengxiang keep grabbing his chest? Even though he thought so, he didn't dare to be careless. The speed at which he had wings was more than twice as fast as before. Bei Chengxiang tried every means to catch Oscar and beat him up, but no matter what she couldn't catch Oscar. This made Bei Chengxiang very angry. She originally thought that this boy would definitely not be her opponent without using a soul beast. After all, she is the eldest lady of the Minxi clan, and her aptitude is definitely the top existence in the Douluo continent. Wouldn't it be a piece of cake to use her speed to defeat her peers? But she was wrong. After this boy ate a very special sausage, his back actually grew wings, and his speed was extremely fast. If she didn't release her martial spirit, she would definitely not be able to beat this Oscar boy now. And she felt that Oscar hadn't used his full strength all the time, like he didn't fly in the sky, even though he had wings, but used the speed of his wings to circle her. Isn't this underestimating her? Her majestic young lady of the minimum clan was molested because of her speed. She thought that her little face was swollen with anger, and she looked very pretty, so she let out a low snort. Our good guy Oscar heard her voice. The wings behind him almost disappeared. The voice is too crisp. If it weren't for the fact that someone was secretly watching, Oscar couldn't help but raise his head directly. While Bei Chengxiang was drinking in a low voice, her two long braids swayed, her perfect arms spread out, and her martial spirit was released in an instant. A yellow soul ring appeared around her graceful body. The existence of the soul ring made her temperament even more prominent. This aura is very soft, and it looks very gentle, which makes people feel very relaxed. The moment Bei Chengxiang released her martial spirit, her body bounced up like lightning, and her two black silk legs were tightly closed together. As if sticking together, a pair of wings suddenly emerged from the arms behind her body, and the color of these wings was pure white. White wings grew behind her, making her delicate body even more beautiful, and her body jumped in a beautiful arc in the air. Her body swayed, and her body rushed towards Oscar extremely fast. After releasing her martial spirit, her speed increased. Even Oscar was surprised. Her speed has now been completely improved by more than several levels. And when Bei Chengxiang rushed towards him, the spirit ring on Bei Chengxiang's body also flashed, and she actually used her first spirit ability directly, visible to the naked eye. 4 after images appeared behind her at the same time, and they were still very clear shadows. These shadows were no different from her own appearance. When she rushed towards Oscar, it looked like 5 Bei Chengxiangs. He comes. This kind of feeling can only be felt by the person involved. The taste of 5 purple-haired Lolitas with double ponytails rushing towards you must be quite refreshing. If Bei Chengxiang's soul ability meets a soul master of the same level, it will definitely kill in seconds. Most soul masters will worship her as the #1 soul ability, but Oscar is different because his soul power exceeds Bei Chengxiang's more than th level. The difference is 2 great realms. No matter how powerful Bei Chengxiang is, he will never escape from his grasp point bar. It shouldn't be his opponent. GGGG. Although Bei Chengxiang's speed was extremely fast, her strength was still too weak compared to Oscar's. The corner of Oscar's mouth rose, and the moment the 5 Bei Chengxiangs rushed towards her, he leapt upwards and flew into the sky. And Bei Chengxiang was very annoyed, because even though she had wings, she only had her first soul ring now, and she didn't have flying skills yet. Even if she could fly for a short time, she also knew that it was impossible for her to catch Oscar in the air. Her little face was puffed up with anger and looked very cute. She pinched her waist with both hands, pointed to Oscar in the air and said, "You are cheating. Come down and fight with me." Oscar shook his head. He wouldn't go down. Just now Bei Chengxiang's first soul skill. If he didn't fly, he would definitely be thrown by her, and he is still reluctant to attack Bei Chengxiang. He will definitely be hurt by Bei Chengxiang, so he won't abuse himself. "I won't go down. You can come up if you have the ability." Oscar hooked his fingers and pointed. Bei Chengxiang shouted angrily, "How can I fight you when you are on top of me? Come down quickly." Oscar continued to hook his fingers and said, "Why can't I fight me when I'm above you? You can fight me if I'm above you. Don't you also have wings? Come up, come up." What they said made the people who watched secretly speechless. These are all bullshit words. One comes up quickly and the other comes down quickly. Those who don't know think that the two of you are doing something unsightly. If Bei Chengxiang just admit defeat like this, she feels that she is very unconvinced. She was gasping for breath because of the rapid exercise just now, and being gasped by Oscar lost. She felt that she was very wronged. When she thought of this, her big watery eyes became a little moist. She looks very pitiful now. Although she is a soul master, she is only a 7-year-old soul master. She was just a girl. She couldn't stand being bullied by Oscar immediately. Tears flowed down her beautiful face. Oscar felt a pain in his heart when he saw him. He couldn't see the girl crying. He quickly came to the ground, and the wings behind him also dissipated. He wanted to go forward and hug Bei Chengxiang in his arms, but he was afraid that Bei Chengxiang would push him away. It would be very embarrassing. So he was a little at a loss and said, "Miss Bei, you see I've already come down. If you want to hit me, hit me. Just don't cry." When Bei Chengxiang saw Oscar coming in front of her, her little face that was crying pitifully laughed instantly. Hee, you've been fooled." Her little hand quickly raised and grabbed Oscar's chest. Oscar frowned in pain, but didn't make a sound, just being grabbed by Bei Chengxiang. "Why don't you hide?" Bei Chengxiang raised her head and asked Oscar in doubt. Oscar lowered his head slightly, met Bei Chengxiang's eyes, and said, "Because I don't want you to cry anymore." Check out the new book, Douluo, Let Tang Heo Build an Axe at the beginning end of this chapter. Chapter 206 Feeling the Gentle Bei Chengxiang. Bei Chengxiang's little heart started beating violently because of Oscar's voice. "I don't want you to cry anymore." In order not to let me cry anymore, he took the initiative. To be caught by me, he must be too warm. Bei Chengxiang just met Oscar's eyes like this. She saw the tenderness in Oscar's eyes, and also saw the warmth in Oscar's eyes. This boy is not only strong, but also very gentle. She felt her heart was crushed by this boy in an instant, taken prisoner. Now she really wants to fall into the arms of this boy, but obviously she can't do that. She knows that her clansmen are watching her secretly. If she is so unreserved, they will definitely gossip about her, and there are many outsiders. Oops, this Oscar is really too. Did my face get hot without looking at it? How could he be so stupid? So stupid. Why don't you know how to take the initiative? Oops, so embarrassing. Oscar looked at the beautiful Bei Chengxiang. Seeing the tears in her eyes and the tear stains on her already feverish face, he couldn't help stroking her cheek with his hands. And when Oscar touched Bei Chengxiang's pretty face, Bei Chengxiang's body shook, but she didn't dodge, because he felt that Oscar's hand was very warm and gentle, and her pretty face lowered in embarrassment. Oscar was overjoyed. She didn't hide when he touched Bei Chengxiang's face. Doesn't that mean she has a crush on me now? Looking at Bei Chengxiang's flushed little face, he couldn't help but want to kiss him. Okay, he is not just thinking about it now, but is going to do it directly. He lightly picked Bei Chengxiang's chin with his fingers. Bei Chengxiang's pretty face was lifted slightly under his light pick. Her little face suddenly became redder. Although she is young, she still knows a lot about this kind of thing. Yes, of course she understands what Oscar means now. Her little heart is about to jump out. She is now shy, expecting, and feeling a little ashamed, because she knows that other people are watching, but she just can't bear this feeling. She didn't dare to look at Oscar's face anymore. She gently closed her eyes, bit her lower lip slightly, and waited for the coming tenderness and love. Oscar saw Bei Chengxiang's appearance of being picked by others. Of course he wouldn't look at it stupidly. If he backed down at this moment, would he still be a man? He also closed his eyes and kissed Bei Chengxiang's delicate lips with his flaming lips, and when the distance between the corners of their mouths was only millimeters, a cry came from a distance. "Shut up, what are you doing, Xiangxiang? Don't, stop now." A beautiful female voice sounded, and under her yell, Oscar and Bei Chengxiang's eyes opened at the same time. Their eyes met, and they were both very bored by this woman's voice. Couldn't they wait a few minutes to come? Otherwise, 3 seconds will do. Bei Chengxiang's heart is very lost now, and the corners of their mouths are almost glued together. But this woman actually spoiled her good deeds. She really pissed off Miss Ben to death. And just when she was feeling very lost, Oscar's mouth was imprinted on her lips regardless, which surprised her very much. People around her stopped. So why continue? Her big eyes blinked very beautifully, and her body became tense under Oscar's kiss, which made her not know what to do. She was completely empty, completely unaware of herself doing what. Of course Oscar didn't care if there was anyone beside him. Wasn't it just a woman calling, "Love so and so, love so and so, it's so close, I don't want to kiss." Thanks to the panic, after passing this village, there will be no such shop. If you don't hurry up and stamp it now, what if someone robs you in the future? So the moment he made contact, he used ZIOK lens moves, vomited his letter. Bei Chengxiang's body became very tense in an instant, and in the next instant I felt Oscar's tenderness and that fiery attitude. She had already forgotten that she was the eldest lady of the minimum family. She was just an ordinary girl now. She responded to this gentle boy with all her love and let him understand her attitude. So the scene was extremely warm and comfortable, and those peeking people hid. They didn't dare to watch anymore. They might be silenced by the minimum clan. Just peeking at the big fight from the small window for a long time, the person in charge of the soul field also led his men into hiding. The strength of the Munsi clan is not something to talk about. This group is disgusting enough. As long as you provoke them, as long as you dare to go out alone, they will besiege you very quickly. Do you think it's scary? Fortunately, they don't engage in assassination missions. Otherwise they would definitely be more scary. But it is precisely because of this that their ethnic group is very poor. As for the woman who just stopped not far away, she was very at a loss. Now she doubted whether her voice was not loud enough, or did their eldest lady and this boy really want billion? Can the two of them respect me? I called stop. Isn't it good to start? Why are the two of them even more presumptuous under my yelling? Miss, stop, the patriarch is here. The woman shouted anxiously from a distance. Of course it's not good to call Miss twice. What's the use of calling Miss? Can I not kiss the man I like because I'm Miss? That is, what is a young lady? I even kiss the Pope and the Saint. I'm not short of a young lady in your family. By the way, this sound is very royal, and is it a little familiar? But as soon as you hear it, you can tell that it is a very charming big sister who has pushed the young master into a hurry, and the young master even kissed you. Although the two voices of eldest lady are not easy to use, the later voice of patriarch is quite easy to use. Who is the patriarch of their minimum clan? That is Bei. If Bei Chengxiang wants to say who she is most afraid of course she is most afraid of her grandpa. If her grandpa comes, she is still kissing a boy. You can think about what she will do next. In the end, that's really a shame for the old man. And Oscar is also a little afraid of Bei. If he kisses his granddaughter in front of Bei's eyes, he can think about the consequences for him. It will definitely not be easy, and he is still the kind who can't even run away. The two of them parted reluctantly, looked in the direction of the woman, and the little hands of the two of them were unconsciously pulled together, which looked extraordinarily sweet. The woman who called to stop patted her head, and was really worried. How did these two people get along so quickly? I just came a little late, and saw that they had already reached the stage of kissing. If I was a little later, would they not be here anymore, and have already gone to a very secret small hotel? Oscar and Bei Chengxiang blinked in confusion, because the two of them never saw Bei, the patriarch of the minimum clan, only a woman standing there, glaring at them both. Oscar blinked his eyes, thinking, why does this woman look so familiar? End of this chapter. Chapter 207. Seeing Bei Rao again. This woman is extremely beautiful, with short light blue hair and a patterned headband on her forehead. Her figure is very hot. Of course, the most important thing is that she wears very little. She wears white clothes on her upper body, a small vest with a small black vest on the outside. The snow white grand occasion is about to be seen. The slender waist is even more pitiful, and her lower body is wearing tight trousers. Her fair skin and her hot body is revealed. Her lordosis is convex and her back is curled up, and she is juicy and fat, which makes her look very capable. Oscar stared at this very sexy beauty and blinked his eyes. When he saw the grand occasion of this beauty, she recognized who this woman was. Although this woman's hair had changed in hairstyle and color, her figure doesn't lie. This world doesn't have the superb technology of Rona. Oscar immediately remembered who this woman was. Isn't this the big sister who bends over and I poke her brain? It was Bei Rurao, the big-breasted chef he and Xiao Wu had met in the back kitchen of Notting College. Oscar was very curious why she appeared here. Fuck, the surname is Bei. Then she is also from the Minimum Clan. I'll go, what a coincidence. I'm destined to be with the Minimum Clan. At the same time that Oscar recognized Bei Rurao also recognized him. Although Oscar is taller, stronger, and handsome than before, he is still easy to recognize because he has silver white hair. Bei Rurao is very curious. Isn't there an extremely beautiful little sister next to Oscar? Why did she go to kiss her eldest lady here again? Even though Oscar is handsome, strong, gentle, and good, right, even I have to admit that I can't resist his charm. Not to mention her eldest lady who is curious about everything. It's you. It's you. Oscar and Bei Rurao shouted in surprise at the same time. Bei Chengxiang blinked her big eyes beside Oscar, very puzzled. Oscar actually knew her sister. As Oscar expected, Bei Rurao is also a member of the Minimum Clan, and she is also a member of the collateral line like Bei Luo, but her martial soul awakened a sharp-tailed swift, so her status in the Minimum Clan is also very high. After she left Notting College, she returned to the family, and her main task became to take care of the eldest lady of the Minimum family. Because Bei Chengxiang was very kind to Bei Rurao, they were usually called sisters, so she has always been called elder sister Bei Rurao, and Bei Rurao also called Bei Chengxiang her younger sister in private, but where outsiders are, she is always called Miss. And just today, when she was taking a bath, her younger sister ran away by herself, and when she came out, there was no one. However, a member of their family said that the eldest lady actually vented her anger on the clansman. Bei Rurao knew that something was wrong as soon as she slapped her forehead. Her eldest lady's soul power is only more than 10 levels, but who can a soul master vent her anger on? Exclamation mark. Then she rushed over here urgently. After she got here, she is really a good guy. Is this out of anger? This is to piss her off. Bei Chengxiang is the eldest lady of the Minimum family. She is actually with a boy who is not clear about that. And seeing that they are about to kiss each other, it's worth it. So she yelled and wanted to stop the scene from continuing, but she might as well not stop it, as if she was shouting to get ready to start. These two little brats clicked together, as if no one else was there, and they were very involved. After she yelled that the patriarch was coming, both of their lips were drawn. Bei Rurao really couldn't bear to look directly at her. So to speak, the fate of this boy today will definitely not be very good. He will definitely not be able to get out of this big soul fighting arena today. Not because she thinks so, but everyone thinks so. Because at the speed of the Minimum Clan, they the people of the tribe came here very quickly. And when Bei Rurao saw the appearance of this boy, she was shocked. This boy turned out to be Oscar. This Oscar is quite mysterious, not to mention the 10,000-year soul beast beside him is not simple. His identity, it will definitely not be very simple. It seems that today's incident is really a big deal. Bei Chengxiang saw Oscar and Bei Rurao surprised each other and asked curiously, Sister Ro, Oscar, do you two know each other? Before Bei Rurao could answer, Oscar laughed and said, Xiang, you are right. Sister Rao worked in the same place before, and I often went to take care of her business, so we have a very good relationship. Sister Rao has not seen for a long time. Listening to Oscar's words, Bei Rurao felt that it was quite awkward. Although what he said was right, how could he make others think so wrongly? When Bei Chengxiang heard Oscar calling her Xiang, She nibbled a sweet smile at first, but she was a little curious. Oscar took care of Sister Rao's business. She stared at Beira Rao's proud figure. Could it be that Sister Rao still did that kind of work for the family? But Oscar is so young, how can he take care of Sister Rao's business? Beira Rao saw Bei Chengxiang's puzzled eyes and knew that she must have misunderstood. So she quickly explained with a smile, "Brother, you still like to joke so much. The kitchen at Notting College is not my business. I just work as a teacher there. Hey sister, your figure is really getting better and better. But I didn't expect Sister Rao to be a member of the Mincy clan," Oscar said with a smile. Beira Rao walked to Oscar's side and said with a smile, "You know my sister's identity, but my sister doesn't know you yet. By the way, why did you come here? You even stole my eldest lady's heart. You are leaving today. It's very difficult here. There is a young lady next to her, so she can't act like she was in the past. Otherwise she would have winked at Oscar to tease him." Oscar narrowed his peach eyes and said to Beira Rao, "Sister Rao, don't you know my identity? I'm just a student of Shrek Academy. I'm just passing by here, and I'm just betting here. Brother, I just want to earn some gold soul coins. By the way, Beluo of your family is really majestic. As for my brother, is it difficult for me to leave here? I think it should not be difficult. Besides, I have no intention of leaving here. I want to stay here with Xiangxiang." Listening to Oscar's words, Beira Rao called out in her heart what a good guy. First she pretended to be a mysterious pussy, then beat her back, and finally, while pretending to be a pussy, she didn't forget to flirt with her family's young lady. This is really crazy. When Bei Chengxiang heard that Oscar was going to accompany her, her little face was blushing with happiness. She had already decided to share joys and sorrows with Oscar together. Her grandfather Bei usually dotes on her the most. She believes that her grandfather will not object to her finding a boyfriend, and her little boyfriend is very good, isn't he? Sister Rao, you said my grandfather is here. Where is he? You are not lying to us. Bei Chengxiang asked Beira Rao curiously. End of this chapter. Chapter 208. The Patriarch. Missy, he likes to fuck up a little boy. Beira Rao said seriously, "Xiangxiang, I didn't lie to you. The Patriarch is really on his way here. You two had better be mentally prepared." When Bei Chengxiang and Oscar heard that Bei was really coming this way, it was impossible to say that their little hearts didn't chug. Bei Chengxiang is a little princess in the Mincy clan. She is not afraid of heaven and earth. Of course this is all because her grandfather Bei dotes on her. She wants to engage in elephants at this point. She knows without thinking that her grandfather will not agree. Point if her grandfather Bei knew that she and Oscar had just met for a while. They had made a kiss, and that they had confirmed the relationship between boy and girl, then he wouldn't kill her. So when she thought of this, she felt a little scared, and her delicate body trembled slightly. Oscar felt Bei Chengxiang's body tremble a little. He immediately squeezed Bei Chengxiang's tender hands firmly, hugged Bei Chengxiang in his arms, and gave her a very reassuring expression. "Don't be afraid, I'm here. When your grandpa comes, I will explain it to him." Oscar's comfort made Bei Chengxiang's heart feel at ease immediately. She thought to herself, Oscar is so kind. He feels safe by his side. Bei Chengxiang feels safe now, but Oscar is actually panicking. Who is Bei? That's the patriarch of the Mincy clan, and his strength is at the level of Contrap. Although Xiao Kalin is a 10,000-year soul beast, he is still far inferior to Contrap. He kissed his granddaughter, and how can I let it go? Although he can run away now, let him leave Bei Chengxiang now. No matter what, he can't do such a thing. If he leaves Bei Chengxiang now, Bei Chengxiang will definitely be reprimanded. Although Beira Rao will keep the matter between him and Bei Chengxiang's secret, there are quite a few people who peeked at it just now. It is impossible to deceive Bei, so it is better to face it calmly, right? Since he wants to face it calmly, he has to be more optimistic. Oscar's thoughts have changed a lot. He thought about how Bei would treat him, and whether Bei would recruit him to be his grandson-in-law. It's time to mature, and the news that the young lady of the Mincy clan was kissed by a strange man will definitely spread. If this strange man is the fiancé of the young lady of the Mincy clan, that would be two different concepts. He also thought of the relationship between Bei and Tang San. Bei is Tang San's uncle, that is to say, Bei Chengxiang is Tang San's cousin. Why not? He is obviously a brother-in-law, and he has attached the identity of brother-in-law to him. Tang San's relationship has become unpredictable. Bei Ruao looked at them as a couple on the opposite side of them. She was very envious in her heart. She also wanted to have a man who loved her so much. Even when the danger was approaching, he would never leave her and stand in front of her, protect her. She hates herself for being so old. If she was younger, she would definitely join the camp of chasing Oscar. Oscar is simply the perfect male god in her ideal. Although there will definitely be many people chasing him, so what? Woolen cloth. Where can I find such a secure, handsome, and strong man? But her age has become a concern in her heart, and she can only bless them from the opposite side, hoping that they can gain the approval of the patriarch. And at this moment, more than a dozen people walked in at the gate of the Great Soul Fighting Field. The aura emanating from these people was very extraordinary, and it was not easy to provoke them at first glance. The leader was an old man. This old man was tall and thin, but he looked very well proportioned. His long hair was scattered behind him, but his hair was already snow white point. If it weren't for that ruddy face like a monkey's butt, he would definitely look much bigger than the average bad old man. Of course, this is also because he is slightly thinner, and he looks more like an old man. This person is none other than the patriarch of the Minimum clan, Bei. As for why his face looks like a monkey's butt, of course it's because he was angry. If it weren't for the fact that he is the patriarch of the clan, he would have rushed to Oscar. His side killed him. Bei's arrival was extremely fast, and this was also because he was not in their clan, but came out to find his granddaughter, and his granddaughter ran out secretly. How could this make him not panic? And there was only one, it's just Bei Ruao, and Bei Ruao's soul power level is only a great soul master. She can't protect Bei Chengxiang's safety at all. That's why he came out, to look for Bei Chengxiang in person, but this girl was obviously hiding from him on purpose, and at his speed, she couldn't find him after searching for a long time, and when Bei Chengxiang appeared in Sylph's kingdom, he already knew, so he came here at full speed. And at the same time he was rushing here, other members of Minxi clan also came here together, after receiving the news that someone was bullying their clansmen, and they were very curious about what kind of powerful opponent this was. They all came here in person. When Bei arrived in Sylph's city, he was still very happy, because he would see his precious granddaughter soon. But in the next moment he received the news from his clansman, and the clansman bowed tremblingly and said tremblingly, the patriarch of the clan, the eldest and the eldest, being accused. It was obvious that Bei couldn't take it anymore. Before he finished his report, he anxiously pointed to another clansman and shouted, "Tell me what's wrong with Miss. Tell me quickly." Another clansman wanted to cry, but he discussed with the clansman next to him for a long time, and the next person would report, but he was so happy that the report was really technical, so obviously he just didn't want to talk about it. This said that the patriarch would definitely be furious. He is really hard to get off now, not to mention that he will be beaten. If he is said, he will definitely be beaten. Patriarch, Missy, she fell in love with a little boy. The clansman said bravely. Bei's old eyes suddenly widened. He felt his head dizzy, and he yelled, "Fell in love with a little boy. Fucked." The clansman nodded and said, "That's right, Missy has already gone." Good guy. What this clansman reported is really evil, but it is also very normal. The so-called spreading rumors will be a little bit more serious when spreading rumors, and this clansman obviously did not control this speed. He aggravated the incident to a state of extreme horror. And Bei also loved his granddaughter too much. He immediately lost his composure and went directly to the Great Spirit Arena, and this time his speed was more than twice as fast as before. He obviously used the flying soul ability. His speed was only a few seconds to reach the gate of the big fighting field. He exhaled twice. He was afraid that he would see a scene that he couldn't look directly at. I was directly stunned by the gas. He walked out of the demeanor that the Minxi clan should have, and led the strong people of the Minxi clan behind him into the big spirit arena. But when he entered the big spirit arena, it was obvious that he saw nothing. Because the registration and betting places are on the second floor, his granddaughter is on the second floor. Several members of the tribe bowed respectfully to Bei and said, "Patriarch, you are here. The eldest lady and the boy are working on it. Go and have a look." What the fuck? End of this chapter. Chapter 209 pressed by Bai Chengxiang and Bai Rurao. Bai's heart tightened when he heard it. How could he control his emotions? His granddaughter actually broadcast live with the boy in public. His old face is really ashamed today. He didn't care about the demeanor of the patriarch of the Minxi clan. He immediately released his martial spirit. A surge of soul power erupted from his body. He flew to the second floor at an astonishing speed, and the members of the Minxi clan behind him saw the patriarch was crazy, so they had no choice but to fly up. Bai's speed has caught up with the teleportation, and his sprint is much worse than that of Flash. He looks like Yun Zongjin, and he appears beside Bai Rurao in the next instant. Because Bai's arrival created a hurricane in the whole hall, this hurricane was released by the wings behind him, and his soul power. He was very angry and the consequences were serious, so serious that Bai Rurao was blown away, just as he was about to greet him. And the direction of the fan flying happened to be where Oscar and Bai Chengxiang were, and Oscar and Bai Chengxiang were also blown by this hurricane unexpectedly, so the three of them were blown away directly, completely blown away. It can be 10 meters away. Then the three of them fell to the ground with a thud, and that was not counted, because more than a dozen strong men came up again behind them. All of them are the strength of the Soul Emperor. Obviously, Oscar and the three of them were still irresistible, and the three once again held hands, and turned over one by one. And their final falling posture is really a bit indecent. Even Bai was a little unexpected about their current posture. He regretted it the moment he was furious, because he didn't see the unsightly scene, just saw Bai Chengxiang and the three of them stood there chatting. They didn't talk about that or anything. But it's useless to regret, because his granddaughter and the others have already been overthrown, and these tribesmen came to assist them even more. This is alright. The three people who had nothing to do before, let them make something happen. Their clansmen stood behind Bai, and in the next moment they jumped off the second floor, because they saw something they shouldn't have seen. Bai's eyes were tightly closed, and the corners of the old mouth kept twitching, because he regretted it. The intestines were all ruined, because of their arrival. Oscar and the three of them were directly blown up twice. And because they protect each other, the hands of the three of them are held together, so the three of them are connected together like Siamese twins, and the final landing posture is quite unwatchable. Because Oscar is a man, and his soul power is the strongest, so he protected Bai Chengxiang and Bai Rurao the moment he was blown over, so when it landed, he was the one who fell on the ground first, while most of Bai Chengxiang and Bai Rurao landed on him. Bai Rurao doesn't know if it's because some parts of her are too big or what. Her proud curves have already pressed Oscar's face tightly. Fortunately, she didn't face Bai, otherwise she would definitely see Oscar's face. The scene where the face is crowded out of shape point and her long and fragrant legs were wrapped around Oscar's left leg. And Bai Chengxiang's posture is even more unusual. Her small head is right next to Oscar's waist, needless to say where, and her beautiful legs are holding Oscar's arm. Oscar's arm is unknown what's going on. It's almost close to the root of the thigh. Bai's head was buzzing right now, and he cried in his heart, "It's over, my granddaughter was given to someone else with my own hands. This posture is like this. Her granddaughter must belong to this man, or else the minimum clan would also die. There's no need to meet anyone, and this Bai Rurao must belong to this boy too. This is great. My assist directly gave away 2 talented young ladies of my Minxi clan, and I still gave away 2. As soon as I gave it away, my heart is really bitter." Bai secretly opened one eye and looked at them again. "Good guy, it's been a few seconds, and I still can't get up. Can you move?" They seemed to have heard his voice. Oscar wanted to struggle to get up, but he gave up after struggling a few times because he couldn't move at all. The 2 girls seemed to be nostalgic for this state. Since other girls don't mind, why would he mind? It's just why I feel dizzy in my head. I'm not hypoxic, am I? And just when Oscar felt that he was about to suffocate, his breathing suddenly became smoother because Bai Rurao got up on his body. Although Bai Rurao was very reluctant to give up the state just now, he knew that it would not work if this continued. Watching from the sidelines, furthermore, Oscar's breathing has changed from shortness of breath to shortness of breath. She didn't want Oscar to pass out because of her own greed, so she got up reluctantly. And Bai Chengxiang also climbed up from Oscar's body because of Bai Rurao's movements, but she still couldn't avoid being touched by Oscar's arm when she got up. The three of Oscar and the others got up on the ground and arranged their clothes. They are very embarrassed now because what happened just now made them blush, especially Bei Chengxiang. Her grandfather saw it just now. It's really embarrassing. But since her grandpa came, she couldn't ignore her grandpa, so she could only whisper to Bei shyly, "Grandpa, why are you here?" When Bei heard Bei Chengxiang calling her, he knew that they were done. He opened his eyes and looked at the three of them. He felt that he was a little sorry for the three of them. It was because of his impulsiveness that he caused the current situation appearance. Bei came in front of them and said, "You ran out secretly, Grandpa, can you not be in a hurry? Fortunately, you are fine. That grandpa was too anxious just now. Are you all okay?" Oscar blinked his eyes, looked at the white crane in front of him, and thought to himself, "Love me, I've fucked up your granddaughter. You are not only not angry, but also care about me. Why is my brain circuit not enough to turn around? Why can't I turn around?" Bei Chengxiang shook her head and said embarrassedly with a blushing face, "It's okay, we are fine at all. He. Although she is in some pain now, the pain has long been diluted by the joy in her heart. Not only does she not blame her grandpa, but she is very grateful to her grandpa's intimate action." Bei slightly lowered his head to look at Bei Chengxiang's little hand that was being held by Oscar all the time, and said, "Xiangxiang, you still haven't introduced your little friend to grandpa?" Bei Chengxiang's small face became even more shy when she heard her grandfather's words. She somehow felt so comfortable being held by Oscar's little hand, and she introduced to Bei, "Grandpa, this is Oscar." "Hello, Grandpa Bei," Oscar called out with a slight salute. It's not a bad thing for him to call grandpa. After all, he just kissed his granddaughter, and Bei Chengxiang is his woman, so the cry couldn't be more normal. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, The Surprised White Crane. Bei nodded to Oscar and said, He carefully sized up this future grandson-in-law, not to mention handsome, especially his piercing peach blossom eyes, and his temperament was different from that of children of the same age. The temperament of a strong man can be seen in his body, and not everyone can pretend this temperament. What's more, this is still emanating from a child. That also proves that this child is a real strong man. This made Bei very puzzled. The child named Oscar looked only 2 or 3 years older than his family's Xiangxiang, and at most he was only about 10 years old, but such a child exuded such an extraordinary aura. It seems that he is definitely not a child of an ordinary family, but I don't know which family he is from. So he asked curiously, Oscar, I think you have an extraordinary temperament. I wonder which family you belong to? Oscar shook his head and replied, I don't have a family, I'm just a student of Shrek Academy. Shrek Academy? Bei asked suspiciously. Of course, as the patriarch of the Mincy clan, he has never heard of the reputation of Shrek Academy. This Shrek Academy is just a small village outside Suocho City. How could he know about it? However, Bei did not underestimate this college. If this college can cultivate such extraordinary students, then this college is definitely a hidden top college. Oscar knew that Bei had never heard of Shrek Academy, so he smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth and said, Grandpa Bei, Shrek Academy is an academy that specializes in accepting monsters, and the dean of this academy is Flender, the flying horn of the Golden Iron Triangle. The vice principal is Fudoming Wang Zhao Wuji, and the master of the Horn of Wisdom of the Golden Iron Triangle, and the lowest strength of the rest of the teachers is the Soul Emperor Powerhouse. Flender, Zhao Wuji, Master. Bei cried out in surprise. These 3 names are not unfamiliar to him, because their strength is not much different from his, especially the Golden Iron Triangle, whose strength can kill Contran in seconds. Even titled Douluo can make a move, and the lowest strength of the other teachers is actually the Soul Emperor, and the strength of this academy is really terrifying. It can be regarded as a powerful family. Not only was he surprised, but even Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rerao beside him were also surprised. The 2 realms of Soul Sage and Soul Emperor are no strangers to them, because these 2 realms are the top combat power of their family. As for soul fighting, there was only Beihee and Luo. But Oscar is not finished yet. He just wanted to surprise Beihee and make their relationship very close, so he made up nonsense. Oh, I almost forgot. There is also a teacher named Keking in our college. He is Heo Shai and our uncle Luo Tang Heo. Heo Shandao Luo. Tang Heo. Beihee exclaimed in surprise. His big mouth has grown so big that it can fit a big fist into it. Tang Heo is his own nephew. His uncle knows how strong he is, and the title Douluo with a 10-year spirit ring is no joke. He actually worked as a guest teacher in an academy. No, not right. Tang Heo has disappeared for so long. How could he be named in an academy? Since he can be named in an academy, why doesn't he return to the Clear Sky School? If he returns to the Clear Sky School, the Clear Sky School will definitely be born again. It will definitely make Heo Xianzang strength comparable to Spirit Hall, or even surpass Spirit Hall. After so many years, Tang Heo's traces finally appeared again. He desperately wanted to know where Tang Heo was. Isn't this a clue? But he felt that Oscar was lying to him even more, so his expression became serious, and he asked Oscar suspiciously, why did Tang Heo become a guest teacher in your academy? Of course Oscar knew that Beihee would not believe what he said, but he had already prepared a reason, and he said to Beihee with a smile, because my younger brother is a preparatory student of Shrek Academy. My younger brother is Uncle Tang Heo's son. His name is Tang San. Now he is practicing with his teacher at Notting College. Sister Rao Rao should know. Hearing this, Beihee looked at Bei Rao who was secretly rubbing her chest. Bei Rao nodded and said, Patriarch, Tang San is indeed practicing with Master at Notting College, and Tang San indeed calls Oscar the boss. Unexpectedly, Tang San turned out to be the son of Heo Shandao Luo. Bei Rao's words reassured Beihee that it was indeed not surprising that Tang Heo was named in an academy for his son. After all, Yin was dead, and he only had this son as his sustenance. Bei Rao didn't say that Tang San was actually called Oscar's brother-in-law, because she wanted to hide it for Oscar. If she said that Tang San was called Oscar's brother-in-law, then Beihee would never let Oscar go today. He couldn't allow himself. If the granddaughter marries a man together with other women from other races, then the face of his minimum clan will definitely be lost. Oscar was grateful to Bei Rao in his heart. She really deserves to be my dabe, who really took care of me at critical times. Although Oscar didn't intend to hide the matter between him and Xiao Wu from Bei Chengxiang. But obviously now is not the time to talk about it. If he said it now, Beihee would definitely imprison him. Beihee nodded and said, well, since the teachers in your academy are so powerful and their reputations are so strong, why is your academy's reputation so low? Oscar sighed and replied helplessly, although the teachers at Shrek Academy are very powerful, the academy mainly accepts little monsters, and little monsters mean geniuses among geniuses, and it is precisely because of this now there are only 4 students in the academy including me. There are only 4 students? Beihee was surprised again. His old heart received too many surprises today. Such a strong teacher actually only accepted 4 students, even including Tang San as a preliminary student. There are only 5. No wonder this academy is not well known. It would be really strange if such a small number of students could resonate throughout the Douluo continent. But what made Bei curious was how high the qualifications for the students recruited by this academy. Even if the reputation is not obvious, it must be able to recruit dozens of students. So Beihee asked quite curiously, how high is your college's admission requirements? You only recruited 4 students. Oscar said in a very pretentious way. Now the entry requirements for entering Shrek Academy must be no more than 12 years old, and the soul power must reach level 25 to join. Level 25. Beihee, Bei Chengxiang, and Bei Rao exclaimed in disbelief. This entry requirement is really too high. This condition is really frighteningly high. Even if he is the most powerful genius of their Minzi clan these years, if Bei Chengxiang wants to meet this condition, he will have to work hard to achieve it. That means that before Oscar joined Shrek Academy, he had already reached level 25. How old was he then? Beihee narrowed his eyes and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He thought to himself, I'm so sure about this grandson-in-law. Whoever opposes me is in a hurry. End of this chapter. Chapter 211 Recognizing Bei Chengxiang as God's sister. Comparing the surprise of Beihee and Bei Chengxiang, Beirao felt even more unbelievable. Beirao was surprised by the girl named Xiao Wu who was next to Oscar. Xiao Wu looked as big as Bei Chengxiang. She was also from Shrek Academy. So that girl named Xiao Wu has reached level 25 spirit power. Such a small soul power of level 25. What a strong aptitude does this have? It's just that the eldest lady of her family is a bit overshadowed by Xiao Wu. There is also Oscar who can make such a talented Xiao Wu a big brother. How strong his current soul power will be. He doesn't believe that Oscar only has level 25 soul power now. Bei couldn't help asking curiously, Oscar, do you really have no family? Oscar shook his head and said, Grandpa Bei, I have not joined any family or force. Bei was overjoyed when he heard Oscar say that he had no family. He said to Oscar, since you don't have a family, I wonder if you would like to join my minimum clan. As long as you join my minimum clan, I will give Xiangxiang and Rao Rao as betrothed to you. Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering a side mission, rejecting Bei's invitation, and accepting Bei Chengxiang as a god sister. Mission reward, increase the length of all sausage soul skills by 1 centimeter. Good guy, I'm just a good guy. This is obviously 2 tasks. Okay, it turned out to be one with the 2, but the rewards for this task are very generous, and the soul skill sausage is increased by 1, which means that all his soul skills have been upgraded by 1 level, just like his strength is now the soul master, and his recovery sausage was originally it can only have a significant effect on the soul king. And if he completes this task, his recovery sausage will have an effect on the Soul Emperor, which is more than twice as powerful. And the same is true for his detoxification sausage. Originally, Oscar was still wondering how to go to Douluo's medicine garden to pick all the grass. After all, besides the fairy grass, there is also the poisonous fairy grass. All he knew were those 7 kinds of fairy grasses. But how could he be satisfied with just picking 7 kinds? If he completes this task, he will not have to worry about being poisoned by poisonous weeds, and he will not be able to enter the medicine garden with a little bit of poisonous gas. Not to mention the flying sausage. His flying sausage hasn't increased in length yet. If it is increased, it will definitely get a qualitative leap. At least the flying speed will be faster. Then he will have one more life-saving means. At least he can run. If he can't beat Douluo. However, it is really difficult to complete this task. The task of recognizing Bei Chengxiang as a god sister is really not difficult, but after rejecting Bei's invitation, then recognize Bei Chengxiang as a god sister. It's difficult. He could imagine that, if he rejected Bei now, Bei Chengxiang would definitely be very sad, and it would definitely rain like pear blossoms. Even Bei would not let him go. Oscar didn't dare to look at Bei Chengxiang who was looking at him affectionately, and also didn't dare to look at Beirao who was slightly frowning with anticipation. He was afraid that he would not be able to help, but give up the task after reading it. Oscar shook his head and said, Grandpa Bei, thank you for your kindness. I do have a crush on Xiangxiang and Sister Ro, but I've always been used to being free. I don't like the feeling of being bound by the family, and I still have one very important things to do. When Bei heard Oscar's answer, his old face became very gloomy, and he was very angry now. The patriarch of his majestic Minzi clan invited him to join with his granddaughter, but he actually refused, which made his face go. Beirao understands Oscar's approach very well, because it is too inferior to stay in the Minzi clan with his aptitude, and he still has Xiao Wu. He can't give up Xiao Wu because of Bei Chengxiang and her, although she feels a little lost, but she still agrees with Oscar's approach. But Bei Chengxiang, who was looking forward to it at the side, was different. Her tears flowed out instantly. Oscar refused. How could he refuse? She immediately covered her face and ran to the side. Oscar pulled her back quickly. Xiangxiang, listen to my explanation. Bei watched Oscar holding her granddaughter's hand and shouted, let go of my granddaughter. Oscar, my old man, put the words here today. You don't admit it. After kissing my granddaughter, my old man will not let you out of this big soul fighting arena today. Oscar said very speechlessly. Grandpa Bei, when did I say I don't admit it? When did I say no to Xiangxiang? I just don't want to join the family. Bei said with a gloomy face. You must join my Minzi clan, otherwise I won't let you go. Oscar said honestly and helplessly. Grandpa Bei, I have a reason not to join any family. The Pope of Wuhandian is looking for my whereabouts everywhere. If I want to join your family will definitely be destroyed. The Pope of Wuhan Palace? How could you, a brat like you, offend the Pope? Bei he asked, very puzzled. Good guy, this old guy looks down on me. I stole all the Pope's crown, you said. Oscar sighed and said, oh Grandpa Bei, you must also know that I have a 10,000-year soul beast, a 6-colored sky-swallowing python pet, and the thing is, stop. Wait, when did you have a 10,000-year soul beast as a pet, and why is it such a powerful soul beast as the 6-colored sky-swallowing python? Bei he stopped in surprise. Bei Rurao and Bei Chengxiang nodded to Bei he, proving that Oscar was telling the truth. Bei he came out, only to look for Bei Chengxiang. He didn't even know about the news that his clansmen were beaten up, and he was always concerned about the news about his granddaughter being raped. How could he be in the mood to pay attention to other news? And when he heard that Oscar said that he had the 10,000-year soul beast 6-color swallowing python as a pet animal, he couldn't believe it. Being a 10,000-year soul beast as a pet beast is something that even a titled Douluo can't do. How did Oscar do it? And this 10,000-year soul beast is still a 6-colored sky-swallowing python. If he really had the 6-colored heaven-swallowing python as a beast pet, then he really didn't need to join their minimum clan, because he felt that his minimum clan wasn't good enough for him. The 6-colored sky-swallowing python is a top-level soul beast, a soul beast that can compete with Contra as long as it breaks through 10,000 years. That is to say, Oscar's strength is not much different from his now. He also doesn't want to know how Oscar provoked Bibidang now. He just wants to know what Oscar's real soul power level is, and he wants to know what kind of monster this Oscar will be. Bei he caressed his chest and said, stop, I don't want to know where your beast pet came from, so just tell me what your current soul power level is, and why you offended the Pope. Slow Oscar suggested. Grandpa Bei, why don't you sit down first? I'll talk to you after you sit down, or you can hold on to something. Bei Chengxiang, and Bei Rurao were a little confused by Oscar's words. What does Oscar mean? He thought his next words would scare the patriarch of Tangtangmansi clan. No need. Bei he waved his hands, however, his hand unconsciously supported the seat next to him. End of this chapter. Chapter 212. Oscar speaks the truth. Bei he is paralyzed. Bei he had a premonition in his heart that Oscar's next words would definitely be shocking, otherwise he wouldn't let himself sit down and listen. But how could he be frightened by a child as the head of the dignified clan? So he thinks it's better to hold on, but the holding posture must be mastered. His old hands are playing the chair like a piano, so it looks like he is anxiously waiting for Oscar to tell. After Oscar saw that Bei he was ready, he smiled and said to Bei he, Grandpa Bei, I also said just now that Shrek Academy's minimum soul power for recruiting students is level 25, so my soul power was already 3 years ago. I have broken through level 25, and a few days ago, because I was on my way, I accidentally broke through to level, spirit power, level. Bei he's eyes widened in disbelief. This time he didn't yell loudly, because it was a secret. Although his clan had cleared the entire Great Spirit Arena, he had better be more cautious. His heart was pounding. This was so frightening. He couldn't believe it was real. Oscar was only about 10 years old. If he had spirit power of level, he would have to be in the womb just practice. But in the next moment he believed what Oscar said, because Oscar released his sausage martial spirit, and even released his soul ring. 2 yellow and 1 purple, 3 soul rings surrounded him. This soul ring just proves that Oscar is a strong soul master. And Bei also clearly felt the surging soul power emanating from Oscar, not to mention the soul master, but Bei he could believe that he was a soul sect. This surging soul power was enough to prove that he was now at a level soul master. That is to say, as long as Oscar is hunting a soul beast, then his strength will become a soul sect. Is the soul sect less than 10 years old, so evil to this degree? Then there are 3 other students in their academy. It can't be that these 3 students are also evil. He felt that his legs were indeed a little soft. Is Oscar still human? This completely broke what he knew, and Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao were even more surprised than Bei he. Oscar's soul power was like a very high wall, separating their relationship. It's just a soul master, and this qualification is completely out of the same world. Bei Chengxiang now understands why Oscar is unwilling to join their family, because their family is not worthy, and their family can't provide him with the resources for rapid growth. Staying in their family is nothing more than burying him, and even she feels very uncomfortable now. Inferiority, because she feels that she is not worthy of Oscar at all. Oscar is like a top Prince Charming, and she is not even a village girl. Oscar, you just said that there is one thing to do, is to add a soul ring to improve the strength to the soul sect? Bei he asked numbly while sitting on the seat. He found that he couldn't stand anymore. He had to sit down to ask Oscar. Oscar nodded and said, that's right, this time I want to go to Sunset Forest to hunt and add soul rings. Bei he asked the doubts in his heart. Oscar, I want to know if all the students in your Shrek Academy are as evil as you? Oscar knew that Bei he would ask this question, so he said calmly, Grandpa Bei, I'm actually a big brother of Shrek Academy. One of the two students of his kind is Mahanjan, who is a few years younger than me. It's Fire Phoenix, full of soul power innately. Now it's level 17. And the other one is 2 years older than me. His name is Damu Bei, and his spirit is White Tiger. When Oscar said that the White Tiger's name was Damu Bei, he saw Bei's mouth slightly opened and knew that he had guessed Damu Bei's identity. That's right, he is the prince of the Star Luo Empire. Although he is not born full of soul power, his current soul power level has reached level 27, which is the standard for just joining Shrek Academy. As for the last student, that is my younger sister Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu's aptitude is not inferior to mine. She is a few years younger than me. Her soul power level is 27. Bei he thought to himself, good guy, this is really a monster, especially that girl named Xiao Wu, who is younger than Oscar. How old is that F***CK? 6 years old? 7 years old? Have you ever seen a 6 or 7-year-old soul master? Bei's eyes were dull, and his whole body was already numb. He slowly digested the information Oscar said, which contained too many things. For example, Damu Bei's promotion to 2 levels in a short period of time was called Mahanjan's promotion to 7 levels in a short period of time. Level, and this little dance. Bei Chengxiang's face was full of happiness when she heard what Oscar said about Xiao Wu. She knew that this girl named Xiao Wu was definitely not his own sister, but definitely Oscar's childhood sweetheart. She was smart enough not to ask Oscar, because she knew that Oscar would tell her on his own initiative, and she was very inferior now. She felt that she was far worse than Xiao Wu, i.e., this so-called young lady of the minimum family is worthless. She is now very afraid that Oscar will reject her. Very afraid. As soon as her body went limp, she was about to slump to the ground. Oscar quickly hugged Bei Chengxiang's delicate body and said softly, Xiangxiang. Bei Chengxiang's face suddenly felt like her face was on fire. Oscar still hugged her in front of her grandfather and hugged her so tightly, it was really embarrassing, and Bei Rurao on the side showed a smile because she had already prepared in her heart. It was normal for Xiao Wu's soul power to reach level 27. But she thought it was abnormal to be only level 27. Bei Chengxiang was hugged by Oscar just like that. She didn't struggle, because she felt very warm in Oscar's arms. Bei he raised his head, after slowing down for a while, and the corner of his mouth twitched. What a guy, I was just in a daze, and now you put my granddaughter in your arms. You really don't take my grandpa seriously. Cough. Bei he coughed. When Bei Chengxiang heard his grandfather's voice, she immediately struggled out of Oscar's arms in shame, but her little hand took the initiative to hold Oscar's hand. She was very afraid that, if he let go, Oscar would run away. Bei he asked curiously, Oscar, I want to ask you, how did you and the soul power named Xiao Wu cultivate? I have never heard of it at such an old age. Oscar smiled and said, actually, it's nothing. Xiao Wu and I are both born with level spirit power. Good guy, I'm paralyzed. Bei he felt that he was already paralyzed. This is really a pair of golden boy and jade girl. Together, you are born with level soul power, the kind that would scare you to death. How dare you invite someone to join the minimum clan? He is not worthy of the minimum clan. Bei he looked at her precious granddaughter and nodded, which means my precious granddaughter Xiangxiang, you have to work hard. Then how did you offend His Majesty the Pope? Bei he asked again. Oscar felt that Bei was like 100,000 whys, asking endless questions. If it weren't for the fact that you are Grandpa Bei Chengxiang, and you count half of the mission, I would have ignored you a long time ago, and I pretended to be forced for a long time. You must not let me join your poor and sensitive clan. End of this chapter. Chapter 213 Grandson Oscar. Grandpa Bei, I think it's better that you don't know about this, Oscar said. Of course, Bei he quit. He knew so much that it was not too late to gossip about the Pope. He insisted on listening to it. He wanted to find out how Oscar provoked the Pope. If there is a big hatred, he must not let his granddaughter befriend this Oscar. Isn't that cheating his granddaughter? And it will also implicate all members of their minimum clan. He must be responsible for the clan members of the minimum clan. Although Oscar was very helpless towards Bei, the old man's emoji, he had no choice but to tell Bei the little story that had to happen between him and Bibi Dong's big sister under Bei's insistence. Of course, this little story is not what happened between him and Bibi Dong. It is better for him to know about that kind of thing. After all, only he who has tasted the sweetness of such a sweet thing can understand how enjoyable it is. So Oscar started the mode of telling the truth. The main story was that when he and Xiao Wu were looking for a suitable soul ring in the Stardao forest, he accidentally picked up a book, and then he accidentally glanced at it. The big sister fell down by accident, and that big sister is undoubtedly the Pope. The eldest sister of the Pope was very kind to them. She saw their attitude and recognized him as a little brother, and then helped them kill the soul beast. But she took the book back and prevented him from telling anyone about it. For this matter, everything you saw must be forgotten, otherwise the fourth person who knew about it would definitely die without a place to bury him. This is what happened. What happened? What happened? No matter whether Bei believed it or not, Oscar made up the story. Anyway, he himself believed it. The corner of Bei's mouth twitched when he heard that. What a guy. The fourth person knows that he will die without a place to bury him. Then the fourth person is me. You bastard. Why would you tell me that there are such serious consequences if this matter gets out? Don't Wu Hundian know? Then his minimum clan will be wiped out in an instant tomorrow. As a mature man, of course he guessed the content of that book. The content is definitely that kind of, the sky is falling. Oscar looked at his expression and movements, as if the sky was falling, and he returned Bei with a very helpless expression, which meant that you insisted on telling me what I said just now that you shouldn't know. It's not my fault. Oscar, what did you just say? I didn't hear it. Xiangxiang, Rurao, did you two hear it? Bei clasped his hands to his ears and said. It looked like he was an ordinary old man who was deaf and blind after 70 years of age, and his body had also bent a lot, as much as an old man, if he really wanted to. And Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao, who were listening to the sound, blinked at each other, and then hugged each other tightly. Xiangxiang, it's really great that you are fine. You sneaked out. I'm worried about you to death. Sister Ro, I'm sorry, I made you worry. Good guy. Oscar now wants to present him as a trophy to the two of them. This is a pair show. Oscar said helplessly. Sister Xiangxiang and Rurao, you two don't need to do this. My eldest sister won't hurt you two siblings. Oscar really doesn't want billion now. Of course he said this to Bei, which means that only if these two girls belong to me can your minimum clan be saved from the danger of being exterminated. Bei's heart is full of pain now, and he blames himself for his curiosity. Curiosity really killed the cat. No, it was curiosity that killed the little swallow, and it was the little kid Oscar who was the cat. He is a set. This old man got him involved, even though he was a little skeptical about what Oscar said, but he couldn't believe what Oscar said, because no one dared to joke about the Pope's crown in Wuhan Temple, not even a child of. And at this moment, Oscar took out a book from the Little Black Snake Soul Guide. This book was torn in half by Bibi Dong. The first page was Bibi Dong's proud figure holding the scepter, but Oscar was very reluctant to let Bei see. He covered Bibi Dong's body with his hands, only showing Bibi Dong's pretty face. Bei suddenly understood. Could this be the book he was talking about? But didn't he say he was taken back? Fuck, how precious is this book? I really want to see, Oscar said in an astonishing way. This is a copy. Big sister Bibi Dong secretly gave it to me. Bei immediately covered his eyes, and he shouted, I'm blind. Why can't my eyes see anything? I'm so blind. What is the relationship between this Oscar and the Pope of Wuhandian? This guy even has this thing. This Oscar can't be Bibi Dong's little man. Love me, I know what kind of shocking secret. He felt dizzy in his head. He felt that he should be at the end of his life at such an advanced age. Even if he sold his granddaughter, he wouldn't be able to save his life. Grandpa Bei, do you have any questions you want to ask me now? Oscar said to Bei with a smile. Sitting on the chair, Bei's thighs were trembling. What the hell are you asking? Bei's eyes suddenly brightened. He held Oscar's both tightly with both hands and said, son-in-law, can you keep my minimum clan? Cough cough cough. Oscar almost choked on Bei's words. This is his grandson-in-law. This speed is too fast. On the one side, Bei Chengxiang's little face was so red that it couldn't be redder. She was really ashamed. Grandpa really sold her out so quickly, but Grandpa sold her so well. Oscar firmly stretched out a hand to grab Bei's old hand and said, Grandpa, don't worry. My big sister won't do anything to my family. The speed of the development of this relationship made Oscar feel very fast. In a blink of an eye, Goddess Bei Chengxiang was booked to become his fiancée, and she also came with a big white Bei Rurao. The most important thing was the kind of meeting with parents. It's just that you can't enter the bridal chamber yet, but if you can enter the bridal chamber, it will be great. After the relationship between them was confirmed, the members of the minimum clan also let in the people who had previously cleared the field, and the person in charge of the Great Spirit Arena and several other soul emperors were also captured by the strong soul saints of the minimum clan, brought in front of Bei and Oscar. Of course, the person in charge didn't dare to offend Bei. This Bei was the patriarch of the Minxi clan. This was a big family. The power of this family couldn't be offended by a small person in charge of a big spirit arena. Even if the Great Soul Arena is a chain of forces, they dare not easily provoke these patriarchs, because these patriarchs are usually very low-key, but if they go crazy, they are extraordinarily abnormal. Especially this person is the patriarch of the Minxi clan. The reason why they are powerful is not only because of their strength, but also because they come and run fast. They have gathered so many strong people in a short period of time. Even the patriarch directly come. Let me ask you, if you are afraid or not. End of this chapter. Chapter 214. Divide 1 golden soul coins. Unsurprisingly, the person in charge of the big soul fighting field is a middle-aged man. His soul power is surprisingly not a very strong soul master. Compared with the bodyguards of the Soul Emperor around him, his soul power is simply comparable. Neglecting it, it doesn't matter how high the soul power is to be able to be the head of a big spirit fight. The most important thing is to have a good brain. After all, there are very few strong men on the Douluo continent who are both powerful and meddling in these matters, because these things are a waste of time. Wouldn't it be nice to have this time to upgrade to a level of soul power? The head of this big fighting spirit field is a very wretched fat man. Generally, rich people are in this form because they can't avoid eating well, wearing well, and enjoying well, so it's true that they don't get fat. Sorry for the gold soul coins he has. As for why he is said to be a wretched fat man, because this guy just spied on Oscar and Bei Chengxiang for a long time. He even saw Oscar and Bei Chengxiang, although he just took a look, but he is very clear now what is the relationship between these people. Because Oscar is still alive, and there is no injury on his body, it means that Bei, the patriarch of the minimum clan, agrees with the existence of Oscar. If he didn't agree with the boy who kissed his granddaughter's tender lips, then the boy would definitely not be intact. Now standing here, Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao are holding Oscar's arms one by one. Bei Rurao even used her great place to clamp Oscar's arm. Oscar's expression was very indifferent, but he was very happy in his heart. It seemed that this was the first time he felt the feeling of this pair of women. Comfortable. Oscar took a step back very consciously. It's better for Bei, a bad old man, to be in front. This wretched man is not on the same level as him at first glance. One practice and one peeping screen. These are completely two levels. The wretched man walked over with his hands behind his back and smiled, and showed a very kind smile in front of Bei, bowed slightly and said, "The leader of the Bei clan has come from a long way. ZHU is really welcome." The so-called reaching out and not hitting the smiling face, Bei said indifferently, "Hey brother ZHU, it's the old man who interrupted your business. I'm here to accompany you." Field Chief ZHU dared to ask Bei to apologize. He hurriedly said, Patriarch Bay is really too polite. As long as Patriarch Bay is useful to get ZHU, please speak up. Bay showed a smile and said, brother ZHU is really quick to talk. Then I really have something to tell you, brother. The corner of ZHU Chang's mouth twitched slightly. Good guy, this old guy is really thick-skinned to a certain extent. I'm just being polite. You're really welcome. Field Chief ZHU showed a smile uglier than crying and said, Patriarch Bay, please tell me. Bay lightly pointed to the scene of two women serving a man at the back and said, I think you also know that the relationship between my granddaughters Xiang and this little boy is extraordinary. To put it bluntly, this little boy is me, Bei, your grandson-in-law. My grandson-in-law is here. You bought 100,000 gold soul coins, and the Fierce God team won, right? Director ZHU's mouth twitched. Is this old man trying to ask me for money? It is your grandson-in-law who wants the money, right? Does this old fellow want billion to share with his grandson-in-law? When Oscar heard Bei's words, he knew it was going to be bad. This Bei actually set his sights on his golden soul coins. He bought 100,000 golden soul coins. Even with 10 times the odds, there is still 100 gold soul coins. This old guy can't swallow it all. This is a fucking granddaughter. Although it is a way to buy 1+1, it is too cheating. Fuck, something's wrong. Could this old guy be eyeing the 100 million gold soul coins from the very beginning? Director ZHU had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, that's right, this little friend just bought the victory of the Vicious God team. And because all the members of the Killing God team have run away, this victory is a victory of the Vicious God team. That's good. Then you pay for it. Bei stretched out his hands. Director ZHU knew that his 100 million gold soul coins were unavoidable. If he wanted to avoid it, it would be too difficult, not to mention the patriarch of the Minimum clan, even his grandson-in-law. He would definitely not be able to afford to mess with him. The eldest young master who has a 10,000-year soul beast as a beast pet. This is definitely an existence that wants to go to heaven. He also had no choice but to order his subordinates to take over 100 million gold soul coin cards without any mistakes. 100 million gold soul coins is indeed a lot of money for ordinary people, but what the fuck is wrong with them? It's hard work. He had prepared this a long time ago, and even brought his old background, which was more than 60 gold soul coins. His old eyes completely changed after seeing the 100 million gold soul coin card. His body straightened a lot, and his energy was several times stronger than before. Oscar cursed secretly in his heart. The old boss is definitely coming back. Grab my golden soul coins. However, Bei's next action surprised Oscar very much, because Bei actually handed him the more than 100 million gold soul coin card back. Oscar was a little puzzled by Bei's actions. How short of money is this old guy? Everyone knows their family didn't even have 100 gold soul coins, and they were so poor that they could still resist the temptation of the 1 million gold soul coins. Bei laughed and said, Oscar, you should put away the 100 million gold soul coins. Grandpa, I'll get it back for you, and the extra money will be my fee. Hahaha, good guy. Can this old guy have something to offer? There are 20 extra gold soul coins, and he is satisfied with 20. It's as if the people in the village suddenly have so much money and dare not spend it. It's very imaginary, but Bei just doesn't dare to ask for the 100 million gold soul coins because it belongs to his grandson-in-law. Although he doesn't want billion very much, but he can't do without billion if he withholds the 100 million grams. Let alone others, even his granddaughter Bei Chengxiang will have to deny him as a grandfather. Oscar was very amused by Bei's appearance. This old man was playing hard to get with him. What's there to play? Your granddaughter gave me her heart. Now I just wait until your granddaughter's fruit is ripe, and I'll finish the job as soon as I pick it. The gold soul coin is just a bastard. Earn money if you don't have it. Of course, try not to touch this kind of bet as much as possible, because it is impossible to win every time. Just like if Bei Luo didn't want to fight him this time, then his 100,000 gold soul coins were definitely it was a complete loss. Oscar declined and said, well, Grandpa Bei, let's change it. Give me 20, and the 100 million is considered as a contribution to the family by Xiang Rao, and although I have not joined the Minxi clan, I can still contribute to the family. Work hard. Woo, oh my good grandson-in-law. Beihe's old eyes showed hot tears, and these tears were filled with sadness and joy, and even more grateful to Oscar. He said gratefully, "Oscar, why would Grandpa ask you for so much money? Otherwise, let's take 3 to 7. I give you 3, and you 755. 4-6 make a deal." End of this chapter. Chapter 215 Uncooked and Cooked Rice? The surrounding crowd all said, "Ha ha ha ha, it seems like they are dividing up the spoils." Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao felt quite ashamed. The old and the young are really a pair of treasures. After finishing the dirty work, they left the great soul arena hand in hand. The moment they left, the field chief Zhu fell into a coma. The small treasury that he had accumulated over the years was a total of 60 gold soul coins are gone. Beihe is in a very happy mood now. This grandson-in-law is too perfect. Not only is he powerful, backgrounded and qualified, he is also fucking rich. Not only is he rich, but he also knows how to give back to him, a bad old man. He is like a son now. When the master of ceremonies asked him if he was satisfied or not during the wedding, he was quite satisfied. So he directly took his grandson-in-law to find the best hotel to celebrate. For him, going to the best hotel is simply a luxury, and this kind of life will definitely exist every day in the future. 120 million gold soul coins, 4 or 6 points. His 4 points of gold soul coins are quite a lot. One gets 1, one gets 2. Women's Day on March, th. Labor Day on May, street. Forget it. I'm so excited now. I have never encountered so many gold soul coins. Anyway, there are so many gold soul coins. Get rich. By the time the celebration was over, it was already the second day. Beihe drank too much because he was too happy, and Oscar and Bei Chengxiang were so young, so of course they didn't drink anymore. And Bei Rurao's status as the second wife of her grandson-in-law Oscar also skyrocketed. The patriarch sat at the same table. Because Beihe was drunk, the clansman naturally helped him to his room, but Oscar, Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao were very embarrassed, because without Beihe, the old light bulb, they were a little shy. Now they all have a very consistent idea in their hearts, that is, they want to go to the same room to sleep, as a person who does not want billion. Oscar treats these two women whose identities have been confirmed. Of course he hugs her waist into a room. The other members of the Munsi clan treated this matter completely in a blind manner, and even smiled happily after they left. After all, these three were very affectionate in front of the patriarch, holding hands and hugging each other. Woolen cloth. What is it to enter a room? The relationship is confirmed. What is this matter? Besides, Oscar sponsored them so many golden soul coins. One can imagine how happy their lives will be in the future. Their lives are all blessed by Oscar. So what does it matter if they make Oscar happy for one night or a few nights? Of course, this will be done with the acquiescence of the patriarch Beihe. They know how much their patriarch can drink. Although their family is poor, the patriarch will allow it if he wants to drink away his worries. After all, even Blacksmith Tang can use it. Alcohol paralyzed himself, and today Beihe deliberately used alcohol to paralyze himself. He is now in the room with his ear pressed against the crack of the door and listening outside. Good guy, this old guy is really selling his granddaughter. Xiangxiang, grandpa can only do this for your happiness. I hope Oscar, this little kid, hasn't grown up yet. Bei Rurao should be able to do it. Oops, find someone to tell Bei Rurao that it's okay. I'll go now. So Beihe, a bad old man, found a waiter in the hotel and wrote a note asking the waiter to try his best to give it to Bei Rurao. And Oscar, Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao, who entered the other room, were already lying on a big bed. Of course Oscar was in the middle. After all, Oscar's body is tall enough now. The two little women cuddled together. There was nothing too normal about him. But the two beautiful beauties who are at your disposal are lying in his arms. If he doesn't have a bad idea, it's really impossible. Oscar's little hand was probing bit by bit. His little hand was like a little snake crawling on the bodies of Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao. But because he was hugging them, his arms couldn't reach them at all. But Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao were very aware of Oscar's sneaky movements, and they stood up very cooperatively. Oscar said in his heart, "Good guys, two good guys," and just when Oscar was about to touch the artifact that made him yearn for days and nights, there was a knock on the door. Dang dang dang, Oscar shrank his hands back with a guilty conscience. Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rurao couldn't help but raise the corners of their mouths slightly. The little scoundrel dares to do bad things. He still has a guilty conscience. I'll go and have a look, you guys. Beirao climbed up from Oscar's body. She tidied up the blouse that Oscar had lifted up just now, and then walked towards the door. And Beirao's departure completely opened a door of convenience for Oscar, and the other little one has nothing to do, so of course he can do whatever he should. Bei Chengxiang lay in Oscar's arms. Her breathing became a little rapid. Oscar couldn't help admiring this Douluo Dalu is well developed no matter if it's a boy or a girl. Beirao opened the door and saw that it was a waiter. She was a little curious what the waiter was doing at such a late hour. The waiter called Beirao out politely and then handed Beirao a note. The general meaning of the note was that Xiangxiang is still young, so please take care of her. Beirao immediately understood who wrote this. The patriarch is really worried. With me here, can you still let your granddaughter be succeeded by the little villain? After Beirao destroyed the note, she returned to the room again. In order to complete the task assigned to her by the patriarch, she had no choice but to be the big sister. The next morning, Beirao and Bei Chengxiang were lying in Oscar's arms. They were still asleep, and Oscar was looking at their pink and tanned lips happily. The beauty hadn't woken up in his arms, so of course he couldn't move anymore. Looking at the two overwhelming beauties, he was really happy. Dang dang dang, there was a knock on the door, and Beirao and Bei Chengxiang woke up rubbing their blurred eyes. They looked at each other and saw envy in each other's eyes. As for what they were envious of, only the two of them knew. Little villain, get up quickly. If you wake up late, you will definitely be misunderstood by the patriarch. Beirao poked Oscar's weakness and smiled charmingly. Bei Chengxiang also covered her small mouth and said, yes brother Oscar, let's get up quickly. We haven't put on any clothes yet. Oscar. Before he had time to think about it, he saw Oscar walking towards him with Bei Chengxiang and Beirao. When he saw Bei Chengxiang, he felt his head buzz because he saw the three of them change their clothes up. Fuck, I made a mistake. It's over, uncooked and cooked rice. I'm going to be a grandfather. Not so fast. RRR. When Oscar saw the donkey-like white crane, he knew he had misunderstood, and the martial spirit was a little too big. End of this chapter. Chapter 216. Xiangxiang. Sister Ro, you and I are fighting to eat. After breakfast, Oscar left alone with Bei Chengxiang and Beirao. They went to a very romantic park. After he came to this park, he released little Kaylin. It was to prevent anyone from listening to what he said next. Oscar told Bei Chengxiang and Beirao about the things between him and Xiaowu, including the fact that Xiaowu was a soul beast, and also told them what he was going to do now. After listening to Oscar's narration, Bei Chengxiang and Beirao not only didn't get jealous, but they were very supportive of Oscar. For the sake of the woman he loves, Oscar even dared to go to titled Douluo's medicine garden to steal herbs. This kind of love is not something ordinary people can do, did it? After listening to them, they couldn't help crying. It's really enviable for Xiaowu to have such an infatuated big brother like Oscar. She also understands why Xiaowu was born at level 10. A year-old soul beast has never been born. They are all legendary creatures. Everything is naturally possible. They snuggled into Oscar's arms, and they knew that their warmth would not last long, because Oscar had to obtain love sickness red for Xiaowu. Otherwise Xiaowu would be in danger of being discovered by the title Douluo at any time, and by then Xiaowu his fate must be to be taken away, or even die directly. Bei Chengxiang bit her lip slightly and said, if I were Xiaowu you would. Before Bei Chengxiang could continue speaking, Oscar's mouth was already imprinted on her fragrant lips. Xiangxiang, you are younger than me, so you should be my god sister like Xiaowu. Oscar licked the corner of his mouth and smiled. If Bei Chengxiang didn't know that Xiaowu was Oscar's god sister, she would definitely become very desperate, but after she knew that Xiaowu was also Oscar's god sister, her face was very rosy and she agreed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the side mission, rejecting Bei's invitation, and accepting Bei Chengxiang as a god sister. Congratulations to the host for getting the task reward. The length of all sausage soul skills is increased by 1 centimeter. This quest reward doesn't really show any performance at all, but Oscar knows that this quest reward is surprisingly powerful. Oscar, he also wants to be a godsister. Beirao said coquettishly beside her, and her dry sister's dry word is very serious. Okay. I like being a younger sister the most. Oscar grabbed Beirao with a smirk. Oscar, how bad are you? Don't next. Oscar is very busy. Left and right, hands and mouth are busy. The picture is super warm. Zio Kalin, master kissed another girl again. When leaving, in order to test the effect of his flying sausage, Oscar directly made 3 of them. Bei Chengxiang and Beirao blushed and ate the flying sausages. As for what they were thinking about while eating, they were the only ones. I know it myself. So, the 2 of them felt the feeling of flying at super speed. This feeling was so comfortable and enjoyable. Even Beihee, who was waiting for them to come back at the hotel gate, couldn't help but be surprised. This speed is not far behind even the fastest man like him. There are too many. Oscar's soul skills are really powerful to the point of insanity. In the room in the evening, it ushered in the process of the spring night that is worth $1,000, and in the early morning of the next day, Oscar reluctantly kissed the 2 of them on the forehead, and then his figure leaped into the endless sky. The moment Oscar left, Beirao and Bei Chengxiang's eyes opened instantly, and they hurried to the window to look at Oscar, who had become a small black spot. Beirao hugged Bei Chengxiang in her arms. Xiangxiang, he will take us away when he becomes stronger. Arman's clan is too small. The outside is his wider sky. And Bei Chengxiang nodded. The 2 of them returned to the bed and sat down slowly. They found 2 ring-shaped storage soul guides and a note beside the bed. The general meaning of the above is that this is the food I made that can quickly increase your strength, which can allow you to increase your soul power faster. If you combine it with cultivation, you will definitely become the top genius on the mainland. After reading this note, Bei Chengxiang and Beirao showed surprise in their eyes. They destroyed this note in an instant. This must not be discovered by others. This food that can increase soul power is really terrifying. No wonder Oscar it's so fast to practice with Xiao Wu. Compared with Xiao Wu's 10-year-old soul beast, this secret still terrified them. They knew that they had become Oscar's women. Otherwise they wouldn't have gotten this food that could boost their soul power, no matter how good their relationship was. They licked the corners of their mouths. Xiangxiang, did you lick the corners of your lips? Did you remember last night's Oscar? Bei Chengxiang shyly said, oh sister Rao, you are too bad. You fought with me last night to eat and didn't talk about it, and now you still say it. Xiangxiang, let sister Rao see if you have grown bigger after 2 days of nourishment. Our sister Rao. Xiangxiang also wants to feel you. Hehe. The room became very fragrant, and they used playfulness to cover up their reluctance. Oscar is also very reluctant to leave them, who doesn't want to enjoy the gentle fragrance all the time. But before enjoying gentle fragrance, one must have the strength to protect his own woman. Oscar knew that he was still too weak now, as if he had no room to resist, when he met Beihee, and he didn't even dare to make a move. Beihee just jumped from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor of the Great Soul Arena, and he couldn't control his body being blown away. Of course, Beihee used his full speed at that time, but Oscar also felt that with his current strength, he couldn't do it at all. As far as confronting Beihee, it's the same. Even if he uses kitchen utensils and Wuhan point, although kitchen Wuhan is a god-given soul ring, the god-given soul ring does not mean invincibility. As if he wanted to hit the white crane with the dragon pattern, it was just a dream. And the Zuanlong pot is just a pot. A strong man with the strength of his soul Douluo needn't even think about it. In the early morning, Oscar was like flying in Heavendao City, because his ability to fly sausages was strengthened again. He just took a few hours to fly over Silver's kingdom to Heavendao Empire. Originally, Oscar wanted to go to Heavendao City to stockpile supplies first, but because of the relationship between shopping with Bei Chengxiang and Beirao in Silver City, he had already fully stocked up the supplies, so his current goal is Xiandao City, the Sunset Forest 100 miles away. Oscar entered the Sunset Forest without the slightest hesitation. Although the Sunset Forest is not as huge as the Stardao Great Forest, there are quite a few high-level soul beasts in it. Although the Sunset Forest is not as big as the Stardao Great Forest, it would be too much effort to find Dugubo's medicine garden from this big forest. Oscar can't help complaining about the misleading anime now. Flender, Liu Erlong, Uzaya gang and the three of them searched for more than a day and found Douluo's cave, but he only found the mountain after searching for a long time. Hey, you are not angry? Looking at the mountain in front of him, Oscar let out a long sigh. He didn't know if the poisoned Douluo was here. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 270 and-039. It's difficult to pick lovesick heartbroken red. This mountain is about 500 meters high. Oscar didn't dare to be careless about Douluo's poison. He hurriedly used a detoxification sausage. The detoxification sausage was so powerful that Oscar was stunned because there was purple air coming out of his body. Oscar was shocked. He had been poisoned before he knew when, and he had already been poisoned before he got close to the mountain. This Douluo is really ruthless. He even set up poison formations hundreds of meters around this mountain. Anyone who enters will be contaminated by this poison. This poison is not very strong, but it is very vicious because it takes an hour to break out, and after an hour, the poisoned person will inevitably convulse, meridians atrophy and died. Oscar is very glad that he used the detoxified sausage himself, otherwise he would have died after more than an hour. Although this poison is nothing to Oscar now, it is completely fatal to Oscar, who did not eat the detoxified sausage. Douluo, if the strength of this poison is not at the contra level, there is no need to try to force this poison out. Oscar ate another flying sausage. After all, he had to be on alert all the time here. If he was a little careless, he would definitely die. He seized the time to fly to the top of the mountain. The 500-meter mountain was not too easy for a person with flying wings like him, and his speed is also extremely fast, but he came to the top of the mountain in an instant. Although he had been prepared for the terrain of the mountain, he was inevitably taken aback. In front of him is an inverted cone-shaped mountain depression. Oscar is standing at the very edge of this mountain depression. The hot air from this mountain depression is spreading over the surface. The feeling of steaming in the sauna is full of immortality. However, there was a strange smell in this humidity, especially like the smell of sulfur. Of course, Oscar knew that this was a good hot spring for sauna, the kind that could steam people to death. Oscar didn't dare to delay. He flew directly down from the side of the mountain. Because it was the thick fog that made Oscar's body very wet, it was quite uncomfortable. But this time is not the time for him to care about his health. He fell to the ground of the valley in an instant. He looked around the valley. Because it is the bottom of the valley, there is not as thick fog as on the top of the mountain. Oscar could clearly see the surrounding scenes. Unsurprisingly, he saw a particularly conspicuous hot spring bath pool. This bath pool is divided into two areas like a Teikai shape. One is a men's bath and the other is a women's bath. There is no dividing line in the middle, so you can move freely. But this is all nonsense. The truth is that in this oval pool, there are two colors, milky white and vermilion. These two colors form a sharp contrast, which is very surprising to see. Although the colors of the two countries are in the same pool, they are clearly separated. They do not invade each other, and they always maintain their own side point. It's like the well water does not violate the river water. The rising water vapor is produced by these two hot springs with different colors, and the water vapor produces a water column that soars into the sky. Oscar knew that this was the ice and fire Yangai, one of the three cornucopias. This place would allow air plants to grow 10 times longer. If a 10-year Ganoderma lucidum would have a century-old effect. Now this scene is really like the Teiji diagram in the previous life, but the colors here are one white and one red. Oscar looked around and saw countless rare medicinal herbs. To him, he didn't even know any of these things. He knows, and he doesn't need to know. The most important thing for him now is to find the love sickness heartbroken red. As for the other herbs, he can just take them as his own. Oscar hurriedly looked for acacia heartbroken red, but the first thing he found was not acacia heartbroken red. The first thing he looked for was the equally awesome Yalxi Ankylos iron pin. This flower is a big pink flower with no leaves and a stem 3 feet long. The flower looks very big, which is conspicuous, because the place where it grows is a bank between the two springs of different colors. Oscar is very simple and rude, picking it like wool. Oscar was very happy to find this delicate fragrance and kilo fairy product first, because this flower has a characteristic, that is, it can resist poison and has antivirus effect, and Oscar picks him first. The purpose of coming down is to stop using his detoxification sausage and prevent Douluo from coming back suddenly. If he escapes without the world to eat the detoxification sausage, he will die a bit wronged. Oscar continued to search for medicinal herbs. Good guy. His luck is really bad. He still didn't find the love sickness heartbroken red. He found the star anise ice grass and the fire apricot delicately. Of course Oscar knew that these two things were a what. Isn't this the effect that water and fire can be achieved after eating it? Put it away and eat it when you are safe. The so-called hard work pays off. After a lot of hard work, Oscar finally found the acacia heartbroken red. Acacia heartbroken red is no better than other fairy herbs because it is the king of herbs. It is a divine herb. Its the picking method is also different from other herbs. Oscar clearly remembered that if he wanted to pick the love sickness heartbroken red, he had to miss his beloved in his heart and spit out a mouthful of blood before he could pick it. So Oscar confidently started to pick this love sickness heartbroken red. He missed Xiaowu in his heart, puffed out a mouthful of blood, and at the same time he thought of Bei Chengxiang and Bei Rerao who had just separated, and then thought of it again, the eldest sister of Wu Hundian, Bibidong, and the Saint Ulina. Also thought of Zhu Zuking, who had the hottest figure, and Bibidong's daughter Qian Ringsu. Good guy. At this moment, he felt like he was acting in a movie. After one scene after another, the women in this scene were all beautiful, and all of them were wearing hot and revealing clothes. So Oscar knew that it seems that it is really difficult to pick this lovesick heartbroken red. It seems that you need to calm down. So poof, he spat out another mouthful of blood. This time he was sure he didn't think about other people. He just thought of Xiaowu and Tang San's mother Yin. That's his little brother's mother, so it shouldn't be counted. After all, Yin is just a grass. I have no feelings for him. Then he stretched out his hand to pick the acacia broken heart red. Good guy, or not? Oscar is very confused. Is it so difficult to pick this love sickness heartbroken red? I really can't believe it. So he came again. This time he really had nothing to shrug off. Only Xiaowu was a girl in his heart, and he was very sincere, and he was very confident that he would definitely succeed this time. But at the moment, when he spurted blood, he knew that his failure was doomed this time. Of course, it was not because he thought of another woman again, but because a person appeared in his line of sight. To be precise, beautiful girl. This girl directly caused Oscar's picking to end in failure again. What Oscar sprayed this time is really a mouthful of old blood. This is really too difficult. End of this chapter. Chapter 218. Douluo Yan, come and help me cultivate. This girl is very beautiful, and her expression reveals a surprised face. She is wearing a light blue and silver white scaly one-piece skirt, revealing a pair of straight and fair long legs, with deep hair. The short purple hair looks very special, and she reveals a strange charm. Her slender hands are caressing her delicate mouth, and she wants to make a sound, but dare not make a sound. Oscar's little heart was beating chugly. It's not because he fell in love with this girl anymore. Although she looked very attractive, she couldn't bear it now. The medicine garden. If it weren't for this, Oscar would definitely have the idea of making out with a girl, because this girl is just right for Oscar. Neither big nor small, different from Bei Chengxiang who is fully developed, nor is she pampered like big sister Bei Rerao. The aura exuding from this girl is too fascinating. This is not a charming obsession, but a kind of enchanting charm. And the identity of this girl is needless to say who she is. This girl is Douluo Yan, Douluo's precious granddaughter. As Douluo's precious granddaughter is here, so will that old monster Douluo be far behind. The moment Oscar saw Douluo Yan, what he thought of was how to leave. He smiled slightly at Douluo Yan. That wild goose, do you believe me when I say that I'm fattening up for this flower? While Oscar was looking at Douluo Yan was also looking at Oscar. She was too surprised that Oscar appeared here, because this was her grandfather's medicine garden. Only the strong can track and barely enter, but how can the strong can try dare to enter the medicine garden of Jadel and Douluo? Even ordinary titled Douluo dare not mess with her grandfather. Her grandfather's poison is not something that ordinary titled Douluo can defend against. This vomits blood to play. In Douluo Yan's eyes, Oscar was indeed vomiting blood because she discovered Oscar when Oscar was picking the love sickness heartbroken red, but Oscar thought of too many women in his heart, so he didn't notice at all. Not far away, such a beautiful and moving girl appeared. Douluo Yan is only about 1 year older than Oscar now. She looks too attractive, and she usually looks very glamorous, but now her glamour has turned into surprise. She looked at Oscar suspiciously. Oscar's appearance is definitely the top existence in Douluo Dalu, and his current height can be regarded as a beginner. He is simply a tall, rich and handsome existence, wearing a black soul master suit. It's really stylish on the body. Although Douluo Yan has seen many boys of the same age, but compared to them, this boy's really ugly, far less handsome than Oscar, and he was able to enter her grandfather's medicine garden by himself. A master of poison, that is to say, he can get close to him? Is there any man in this world besides the Douluo family who can approach me? This is so good, but can I be friends with him? And since he can enter here, will he hurt me? Will he be stronger than me? And what will he do to me? Douluo Yan thought of the unconscious thigh tightening here. She was very scared. Her appearance was so real and touching in Oscar's eyes. Oscar thought to himself, Douluo Yan is actually afraid of me. Does that mean her grandfather is not here? In other words, is she the only one practicing here? Then don't blame me. Hey, it's just why I didn't feel her existence just now. Douluo Yan thought wildly, Grandpa is really go to Heaven Dao City by himself, leaving me to practice here alone, saying that this place is very safe, and practicing here will help me quickly break through level, and reach level, soul power. But what he said was too false. It's not right. Grandpa just left, and then a little boy came, and he called out my name, which means he knows me, so his strength is not so strong. But Grandpa explained to him, he can only come in because of medicine. That is to say, this handsome little boy was sent by my grandfather to help me practice? But why did Grandpa just leave him without telling me? And what kind of method should this boy use to help me cultivate? Douluo Yan thought of this. Her heart slowly slowed down, and her original surprised look turned into that of a young lady. She nodded and stretched out her little hand to Oscar and said, you should be sent by Grandpa. Help me cultivate. Don't get fat there. Come quickly and help me cultivate. I feel that my soul power will break through soon. Good guy. Oscar admired Douluo Yan's little brain very much. She believed me, even when I said I was fat, and even let me pass by. Isn't this leading a wolf into the house? Although this is not indoors, this is a deep valley. Oh, my soul power is so strong. She is a little girl. Should I do something to her now? In the future, she will be a very glamorous beauty. He doesn't want that Yu Xianheng to pick up such a beautiful beauty. If Yu Xianheng gets it, wouldn't it be a pity to his heart? The so-called handsome man matches a beautiful woman. Douluo Yan is so beautiful, and only I, Oscar, can match it. Yu Xianheng should go eat shit. So Oscar's peach eyes revealed a very kind look, and the corners of his mouth also showed a charming smile. He walked towards Douluo Yan and said with a smile, Sister Jaina, my name is Oscar. Grandpa Douluo Bo said the royal family has a very important thing that needs him to do, and it will take a long time to finish. So he was afraid that you would be bored, so he asked me to come to you to practice with you. I just came here and did not seeing your figure. I thought you were washing, so I looked at the herbs here. When Oscar was talking about washing words, his face turned a little red. He looked like a little boy who hadn't experienced much in the world, which made Douluo Yan's affection for him greatly increased. Oscar said tell the truth again, and Douluo Yan believed it without any doubt when he said tell the truth, because her grandfather's name is not known by ordinary people, let alone a little boy, and without his grandfather's antidote, it would be even more impossible to enter here safely. Douluo Yan completely let go of her guard, and her little face turned pink. Brother Oscar, you are right. I was indeed taking a bath just now. I was taking a bath when I heard you here. I put on my clothes in a hurry. You see the clothes on my back are not finished yet. While talking, Douluo Yan turned around and showed his back to Oscar. Oscar's eyes widened in an instant like copper bells. Fuck this willow slender waist and that white beautiful back. Plus the untied cross strings. This is too cool. End of this chapter. Chapter 219. Douluo is very gentle. Douluo's beautiful back made Oscar bewildered. Why is this little girl so powerful? Let me watch such a manic scene. When we first met, I'm a boy. Oscar's breathing became a little short. He looked at the small strings that hadn't been tied up and really wanted to tear them all off. Then his little hand protruded forward, and her delicate body would definitely tense up in an instant straight. Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering the side mission. Recognize Douluo as his godsister. Mission reward. Detoxification sausage increased by 1 centimeter. This is of course impossible. If this kind of thing is to be done, will he still be as pure as Oscar? Why would I, Oscar, do anything to my god sister? What a joke. The most important thing for me now is to pick the love sickness heartbroken red. But here Douluo wants to pick the love sickness heartbroken red. The difficulty can be said to have increased by more than 1 level. I can't vomit blood in front of Douluo now. That would be a mouthful of old blood, and Douluo would definitely doubt my identity. Oscar's head was thinking quickly, what should be done to avoid Douluo's suspicion of picking Acacia heartbroken red? While Oscar was thinking, Douluo turned her head sideways. She felt a little embarrassed and brushed her short hair lightly with her little hand. She blushed and said to Oscar, "Brother Oscar, come and help me tie it. I can't wear this dress." Douluo thought to himself, I knew I wouldn't be wearing this dress when I came out. It's easy to take off when you take it off, but it's very troublesome to put it on. The corner of Oscar's mouth twitched. What a Douluo. If I don't take it off for you, I'm already doing you a lot of face, but you still want me to put it on for you, which is a bit too much. Too much. Really too much. Okay. Oscar hurriedly ran towards Douluo. This Douluo is really too patient. Because Oscar has done a lot of research on girls' clothes these years, Douluo's sexy little strings that look like spider webs are really a piece of cake for him. You can thread a needle even with your eyes closed. But how could he behave so smoothly, with such a good opportunity, to touch Douluo's beautiful back? Of course he has to tie the knot. His little hands are trembling very much. His hands are constantly shaking, so he will inadvertently touch Douluo's beautiful back. And the frequency of touching this seems to be a bit loud. Chug chug chug. And Douluo would stand up unconsciously every time she was touched. And when Oscar helped Douluo finish dressing, Douluo's small face was already like a ripe little apple. Douluo turned around and lowered his head slightly, shyly said, "Brother Oscar, thank you." "You're welcome. This is what I should do." Oscar smiled slightly. "This kind of thing is of course what I should do. It's really cool to do this kind of thing." I touched her, and she thanked me. "This is so hehe." Douluo blinked her enchanting eyes and asked Oscar, "Brother Oscar, my soul power has already reached level 19. What level is your soul power? And what is your martial soul?" As a little partner who accompanies her in cultivation, of course she has to ask about Oscar's martial spirit and spirit power level, and she was unconsciously curious about this little boy. What kind of advantages does he have? Even her grandfather sent him to train with her. How genius is he? Oscar knew that it would be impossible for him not to say anything, so he stretched out his small hand and released his sausage spirit. "My spirit is a sausage, a food type soul master, but my sausage spirit is not purely auxiliary type." As Oscar spoke, he handed the sausage to Douluo. Douluo took the sausage from Oscar's hands with both hands and unconsciously licked the corners of his mouth. Oscar's sausage is so big, and it smells so delicious. It's just that you said, "Why are you not from the auxiliary department?" We all know that food department soul masters are all auxiliary department soul masters. The corners of Oscar's mouth raised slightly. He snapped his fingers, and with a pop, the color of the sausage in Douluo's hand changed, as if it was covered with a layer of black armor in an instant. Douluo's small cherry-like mouth instantly opened wide, and he looked at the sausage in his hand in surprise. "This is really amazing." This sausage turned out to be. "Brother Oscar, you are so amazing. No wonder you said that you are not a soul master of the auxiliary system. Then what is your soul power level?" Douluo asked Oscar adoringly. Douluo is just a girl in her teens now. Although she is studying in an academy, she knows that food type soul masters belong to the auxiliary department. But Oscar actually broke this rule. No wonder Grandpa sent him to practice with him. It turns out that he is so special. Oscar showed a confident smile. His gaze was very firm, as if he was looking at the top expert in Douluo continent. My soul power level has reached level, and I came here to accompany you in training. When your soul power breaks through to level, then we will go out here to hunt the soul beasts and get the second soul ring. Although Douluo is very cold and charming to others, it is because of the poison in her body that others dare not approach her at all. But as long as someone can approach her, she will be very close to that person. Especially the current Oscar. He not only broke the shackles of the food type soul master being an auxiliary type, but also his eyes are firm now, and his body exudes the dazzling aura of a strong person. Douluo's girl's heart was opened in an instant. Her eyes were full of little stars. When she looked at Oscar, a girl's heart was broken by the pure and pure Oscar just like that. Douluo's eyes were full of doubts and asked Oscar, shall we hunt the soul beasts and get the second soul ring? Her first soul ring was beaten by her grandfather Douluo, so that she couldn't move it, so she hunted and killed it by herself. So she hasn't hunted and killed a soul beast by herself until now, just like the flowers in the greenhouse. When she heard that she hunted and killed soul beasts by herself, her eyes were full of curiosity and anticipation. Oscar nodded and said very seriously, that's right. Grandpa Douluo said before he came, after I accompany you to cultivate your soul power level to level, we will go hunt and kill soul beasts by ourselves. He said that we can't let you become a flower in the greenhouse and not let you grow up in his doting. Only in this way will you become a strong person in your own right in the future. After Douluo listened to Oscar's words, her little head nodded vigorously, and she said very firmly, Brother Oscar, you are right. I will become a strong man in the Douluo continent in the future, so I don't want to be under the leadership of Grandpa. I'm not a flower in a greenhouse, nor am I a vase of our Douluo family. I will become an outstanding soul master the next time I see Grandpa. Oscar watched Douluo's mouth slightly raised. The poisonous Douluo was really gentle after getting close. But how can I help her raise her soul power level? And how can I get Acacia heart broken red? End of this chapter. Chapter 220. Douluo, I want you to be my love brother. Oscar fell into deep thought. Douluo's spirit power is now at level 19, and he is still a little short of reaching level 20, so as long as he eats his big sausage once, he will use his divine power to eat it once or twice. If she cooks with super kitchen utensils, her soul power will successfully break through to level, but he still can't let the food that he has to enhance his soul power be exposed. Douluo's grandfather is Douluo. This old poison is very perverted. He can't guarantee that Douluo won't do anything to him, and he is a titled Douluo. If he finds him, he will find Xiaowu. Before handing Acacia heart broken red to Xiaowu, he must not let the titled Douluo get in touch with Xiaowu. So now it is still the most important to pick Acacia heart broken red. But what kind of excuse should we find now to pick Acacia heart broken red? Oscar suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Douluo's body has been in a state of poisoning, so he can use this excuse to pick up love sickness heart broken red. Oscar looked at Douluo, who was a few years older than himself, and called out, Sister Jaina. Good guy, this guy really doesn't want billion. As long as she is under 10 years old, she belongs to her younger sister, and those over 10 years old are older sisters, such as Bibi Dong's long-legged and tender big sister. That's really cool. Douluo looked at Oscar. She couldn't control her violently beating little heart. She found that, as long as she looked at Oscar now, she couldn't control her heart. Her little heart would always beat violently. She showed a bright smile and sweetly agreed. Hey brother Oscar. Oscar smiled and said, Sister Jaina, I feel very close after seeing you. I want to be my sister with you, okay? Douluo frowned slightly. After all, she was a girl in her teens, and she still understood the relationship with this god sister very well. There are two ways to understand this god sister. One is between relatives, and the other is between the love brother and the love sister. Of course, Douluo didn't know that there was a third way of understanding, and that way of understanding was to divide these three characters into two subsections. God sister? What kind of god sister? Douluo asked with a sweet smile. Oscar was suddenly asked by Douluo. He felt a little guilty. How could I be guilty? I don't want to fuck my sister. Oscar smiled. Of course it's the relationship between brother and sister. Is it just like that? HMPH, then I won't agree. I'm ignoring you, and you're not my brother Oscar anymore. Douluo Yan said angrily with her mouth curled up. She immediately showed a look that strangers should not enter, and her small face looked very cold. Oscar's smile gradually disappeared, and his small face became very bitter, and what he said was his current expression of sadness. Douluo Yan looked at Oscar secretly from the corner of her eyes. She felt a pang in her heart when she found Oscar looked sad. She quickly turned around and stuck out her little tongue and said mischievously, "Liu Wei, I lied to you. I promise you. You will be my brother Oscar from now on, but you will be my love brother." While speaking, she stretched out her hand to wrap around Oscar's arm and pressed her head tightly against Oscar's arm. Her appearance was very cute, which was really different from the cold and gorgeous appearance she just pretended. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the side mission. Recognize Douluo Yan as a godly sister. Congratulations to the host for getting the task reward. The detoxification sausage has increased by 1 centimeter. Oscar stretched out his hand to scratch Douluo Yan's nose, then stretched out his hand pretending to be angry and said, "Okay, you little girl still dares to tease your brother and me, and you haven't learned how to be my love sister. See if I don't hit you ass." When Douluo Yan heard that Oscar was going to spank her, he immediately let go of Oscar's arm and ran away in fright. He brother Oscar, if you catch me, Jaina will let you hit me as you please. After she finished speaking, she used all her strength to run into the distance. Her speed was definitely the top among soul masters, and her martial soul was the jade-scaled snake, both in terms of attack and speed point. But her speed is really too slow compared to Oscar. Even Bai Chengxiang with the fastest martial spirit is no match for him, let alone Douluo Yan. Oscar smiled slightly. "Hehe, you said it yourself. See if I don't swell your buttocks." In order to save time, Oscar directly made a flying sausage. After making the sausage, his whole body appeared beside Douluo Yan in an instant, and he hugged Douluo Yan's running body. Then he flew her into the sky. Douluo Yan's eyes widened in disbelief. Oscar's speed was really too fast, but in an instant she felt her slender waist being embraced by Oscar, and then it was irresistible. Oscar hugged him to the sky. Although it was said to be irresistible, in fact she did not resist at all. The moment Oscar hugged her waist, her whole body became limp. Douluo Yan blinked at Oscar and looked at the wings behind Oscar. The wings were so clear in this valley that they looked like elves growing here. Very beautiful, coupled with Oscar's handsome face. It was too charming in her eyes. Although she has experienced flying in the sky, it was only carried by her grandpa. It is a huge difference from being hugged by a princess like Oscar's love brother. Although she came here not only once, but every time she sees here it's not as beautiful as this time. Now she looks very beautiful when she looks at the surrounding scenery, and her artistic conception has become different. Her mood has become sublimated, and now she is thinking in her heart that it would be great if she was hugged by him all the time. Two people are flying slowly in the valley. This kind of picture is really not beautiful, but this kind of beauty is still broken, and the person who breaks it is still the Douluo Yan who feels very beautiful. Although Douluo Yan's body is soft now, her small mouth is not soft. As for why it is not soft, it may be that she needs to be softened. She pursed her mouth and pretended to be angry. HMPH brother Oscar, you actually have flying soul skills. Woo. Before she could finish speaking, her delicate little lips were blocked by Oscar, and this time even her lips became soft. She slowly closed her eyes to enjoy the gentleness above the eyes of Liang Ai. Douluo Yan's martial soul is the jade-scaled snake, and as a soul master with the snake martial soul, it is the first time for her to feel the real feeling of a slippery animal like a snake. Liu Baji. At the same time, a group of people in the Sunset's forest was advancing towards the Eye of Binghuo. This team is very strange, because with their strength, they can survive in the setting sun forest, and they are all intact. As for why it is so strange, it is because the members of this team are all children, and the age of this group of children is about the same, about 15 or 16 years old, and the number is 6. End of this chapter. Chapter 221. The Sunset Forest Yilingling. And the head of the 6-member team is a boy. This boy has black hair and a very slender figure. Although he is not handsome, He is not ugly either, and his face is like that of the Master Uzio gang. Same. Especially stinky. It looks smelly and hard. A stiff face keeps people thousands of miles away. He was wearing a blue dress without any decorations, and the dress was tight. He was wearing this dress like the bumpman next door. The whole person gave off a very simple feeling, as if the next moment he will emit light and shoot out. And there is a handsome boy walking beside him. This boy is not taller than him. He is fat and thin, with short blonde hair, a pair of eyes that are very active, and he walks straight. Quite like a hooligan wandering on the street. There is also a blonde boy walking on the other side of the leading man. His appearance is very beautiful. If you don't pay attention, you may think he is a woman. Behind the three of them are two big men. Why are they called big men? It's because of their strong bodies, tall and mighty, and they walk like two big men. Those who don't know think they are Xiang Dao and Xiang Er. It's haunted. And behind these men followed a girl. This girl was slender and slender. Her short silver white hair covered her small face covered by a layer of white veil. Even if she was lightly, she can also feel that she is a little beauty who is all over the world. Even if she is covered by gauze point, the most prominent thing is her pair of dark blue eyes, which are like the blue starry sky, giving people a very hollow feeling point. As long as you see her eyes, you will be fascinated by her. Of course, not including the 5 straight men walking in front. She is wearing a white dress, but one of her slender legs is exposed, and the other is wearing white stockings that reach the thighs. These 2 thighs are so attractive. Walking in the woods come twinkle is so charming. This 6-person team is none other than the members of the later Huang Dao team, and the leader of the team is Yu Xianheng, the leader, and the others are the other members, Xiamo and so on. This and so on do not include our long-legged beauty Yilingling, because she is very prominent and charming. She seems a little scared to follow, but the 5 people in front ignore her, of course, because she exudes a strange smell. With Wu Jin's temperament, the boys in front should have been deliberately alienated by her, so they would ignore her. Boss, are we really going to Jade Scale Douluo's territory? Aozhou, who was in the team, asked in fear. After hearing this, Yu Xianheng said indifferently, nonsense, this time is the task assigned to us by the teachers. Our task is to find Du Guyan in Douluo's medicine garden, and then help her obtain the 2nd soul ring. We have the antidote given by Jade Scale Douluo and nothing will happen. Aozhou said helplessly, boss, the medicine garden of Jade Scale Douluo is not scary, but the soul beast in Sunset Forest is scary. You are the great soul master in our team, and all of us are soul masters. And me and Yu Feng's soul power is only level 400. Lingling is only level. If we encounter a year-old soul beast, we will all be wiped out. Please call me Yilingling. Yilingling's voice was very pleasant, but it was as hollow as her eyes, giving people a very unreal feeling. After Yilingling finished speaking, she acted very indifferently again, and followed behind. Aozhou smiled awkwardly, turned around and said, okay, Sister Yilingling. Xiamo said contemptuously from behind, Bar Leopard, are you afraid? You are afraid of a hare with a sensitivity system. Our brother is a defense system soul master, and we are not afraid of you. Don't worry, we will go. Me too. Xiamo patted his strong chest and said. Aozhou twitched the corner of his mouth, turned his head, and pointed at the 2 brothers and cursed. Why are you 2 so arrogant? Isn't it because your soul power level is 2 levels higher than mine? And you brothers, look at where you 2 are standing, and say come on if you have something to do. Look, standing behind me still has the face to say that you have to go on if you have something to do. Are you going to come on? You are more cowardly than me. After being said by Aozhou, the 2 brothers Mo and Shimo also felt very embarrassed. Indeed, as Aozhou said, the 2 brothers were indeed a little cowardly, but it was somewhat a little bit of a point to be pointed out by Aozhou. Can't get off stage. But they had no choice but to find a very perfect excuse for their own face. Like 2 door gods, they took a step back and stood beside Yilingling. What do you know, you little brat? We are protecting you. Our 2 brothers are protecting Lingling. Lingling is the auxiliary god of our team. Of course we must protect Lingling's safety at all times. As for your strength, we don't need our protection at all. Lingling, do you think so? Yilingling continued to walk forward, as if she hadn't seen these 2 big bastards. She knew that, no matter what she said, these people would call her Lingling. Yi Lingling ignored them at all. Xiemo and Xiemo were very embarrassed, and Oslo also looked at them with contempt. The lies of the two brothers were really bad. Yufeng, who was silent in the team, looked into the depths of the forest and said, "The setting sun forest is indeed very dangerous, but the strength of the few of us together is also very strong." What Oslo said is right. We have Bilindao Eluo's antidote, so Jade Scale Douluo's poison garden is a safe zone for us. As long as we go through the sunset forest to get there, our mission is more than half done. As for hunting soul beasts, we can use it. Jade Scale Douluo's poison consumes dead soul beasts. Yufeng's analysis was clear and sound, but the few of them still had no confidence in this mission, and Yu Xianheng, the captain of the team, looked back and said to them, "You guys are so stupid. This mission is so difficult and dangerous. If one is not good, we will lose our lives. Are those teachers willing to let us die? What's more, there is Yi Lingling among us, and we can also fight against 300-year-old soul beasts. As long as we cooperate well, we can kill 300-year soul beast is not difficult." The so-called one sentence wakes up the dreamer. Yes, they are all precious geniuses in the academy, and they all entered the school with an exception. The teachers of the academy regard them as treasures, so why let them die in the setting sun forest? In other words, there must be teachers by their side to protect them. And with Yu Xianheng's analysis, they suddenly realized that it was like this. The captain Yu Xianheng also released his majesty at this time, and he continued, "Don't take chances, you can't relax when you go. The teachers of the academy will definitely not take it lightly, unless it is really time for us to live and die. And there are so many high-level soul beasts in the sunset forest. The teachers of the academy may not be able to save us in the first place, so we must be careful on this trip. If we relax a little, maybe we will die here." The expressions of several people instantly became dignified. End of this chapter. Chapter 222. The voice resounding in the valley. After Yu Xianheng finished speaking, he stopped in his tracks. He looked back at everyone in his team and said seriously, "Since we have entered the sunset forest, we must take it seriously. The next test is not it's going to be easy, so our squad lineup needs to be lined up." The other team members looked at Yu Xianheng obediently, because his words had the absolute right to speak in their team, and they all knew that Yu Xianheng was powerful. There is no bedside person yet. Yu Xianheng continued, "This is our first team experience, so we must pay attention to it, and this time we must add Du Guyan. Du Guyan's strength must be guessed by you. Her poison, it's not something that ordinary people can block, so if she joins our team, it will be even more powerful. So as long as we pass through the sunset forest, our experience is basically over. Now let me arrange the formation. Xiemo and Xiemo's spirits are basalt turtles, so the two of you will act as tanks in front. When you meet a spirit beast, you two will stand up first. With Yi Lingling, Jiux and Begonia by your side, you don't have to worry about you will die. Of course, what I said is based on the fact that the soul beast is less than 400 years old. You two, Yufeng and Oslo, will launch a sneak attack on the soul beast next to you. You must have quick eyes and quick hands. Be careful not to betray your teammates. And I will be the main force to attack soul beasts. When encountering soul beasts that are less than 400 years old, we must follow this formation and attack method. If we encounter soul beasts that are more than 400 years old, protect our own safety." The others all nodded in agreement. After all, if the spirit beasts over 400 years old can completely wipe out their group, if they don't run away at the first time, then their end will definitely be miserable. According to Yu Xianheng's instructions, their team continued to move forward. The two meaty brothers Xiemo and Xiemo walked in front this time, while the two little golden retrievers Oslo and Yufeng were on the flanks, and Yi Lingling was behind. As for Yu Xianheng, he was protecting Yi Lingling by his side. Yi Lingling frowned secretly. She felt something was wrong with Yu Xianheng's assignment. She heard that Yu Xianheng's order was sound and well-founded, but the position he assigned had a lot to do with it. Everyone's position has changed, and his position has changed even more, because he has changed from the original first position to the second position. The gap is really big. Yi Lingling felt that the position ordered by Yu Xianheng seemed to have been allocated around protecting himself, and the other four formed a fan-shaped position to protect him, and there was her milk behind her. The one who escaped first was definitely him, the great soul master, and this position was really conducive for him to escape. Thinking of this, Yi Lingling has already become wary of Yu Xianheng in her heart. Although they have the teacher's protection, they are not allowed to come to a soul beast that even the teacher can't deal with, then their fate will be handed over to themselves. Her martial soul is the auxiliary martial soul Jiuxin and Jiuxin soul ability is only healing. No matter how many soul rings she has, her soul ability only has this healing soul ability. So she has to rely on her teammates to survive. So she has been looking for a team that she can put her trust in. So she has always maintained a look of not entering, just to test her companions who can completely trust her. She thought that she had finally found a companion she could trust completely in the academy, because when the few of them participated in the academy competitions, they all participated in the battle with the attitude of protecting her. And this is the first time they have practiced in the forest as a small team. This experience made her feel that there was something wrong with these companions, because after they entered the sunset forest, they all followed Yu Xianheng's side. In other words, they are trying to please Yu Xianheng so that Yu Xianheng can save them when they are in danger, but obviously they are trying to please the wrong person, because it is not Yu Xianheng who can save them, but Yi Lingling! And this Captain Yu Xianheng also manipulated the other 4 idiots as big idiots for his own sake. Those 4 idiots were bought by him and are still counting the money for him. Yi Lingling has become vigilant now because she is afraid that Yu Xianheng will use her as a shield when she is in danger. That is, the legendary scapegoat. Yi Lingling has already made up her mind that she will quit the academy after she completes this task because the people in this team are too selfish and it is not a team she can place her trust in at all. And Yu Xianheng's idea was really guessed by Yi Lingling. He was using them to protect himself and cover up his thoughts with righteousness. This is really too clever. Yu Xianheng's expression was solemn. Do I need to use a soul skill when I want to run, or just run away? When danger comes, I will throw Yi Lingling away so that I can survive. The teacher punished me, kick me out of school. It doesn't exist. As long as these students are dead, then the teacher will know that's all. And I'm a member of the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. How could they expose what I did? Their team with a lot of thoughts is heading towards Douluo's medicine garden, and at the same time, a dramatic scene is happening in Douluo's home, that is, Douluo's medicine garden. In this secluded valley, there was a blushing sound reverberating. At that time, the sound was made by Douluo, a little girl, but not all of it was made by her. There was also a very magical clapping sound. Crack crack, there was a non-stop cracking sound in the graceful sunset forest, which was especially loud in the deep valley. Ah, brother Oscar, why do you still hit me? It hurts so much. Douluo cried out in pain while laying on Oscar's thigh. Oscar smiled badly and said, didn't you just say, Jaina, that as long as I catch you, let me hit you casually? Of course, I, the older brother, will keep my promise. Douluo's dark purple hair covered her pretty face. She turned her head and hurriedly begged for mercy. Our Oscar's brother Jaina is wrong. Stop beating, it's all swollen. Oscar heard Douluo begging for mercy and said with a serious expression, then do you still dare to tease me? Douluo hurriedly begged for mercy. Jaina dare not. Jaina is already swollen, hurt, and swollen. Oscar nodded in satisfaction. Well then I'll let you go. If you commit the crime again, I will whip you for another minutes. Although Oscar said to let Douluo go, Douluo didn't get up on Oscar's lap because Oscar didn't control her with his hands from the beginning to the end. She was the one who didn't hide. Hey, and now she won't hide anymore. She gently put down the hair that covered half of her face and looked back at Oscar. In Oscar's eyes, she saw Douluo nibbling her lips, and her always provocative eyes even gave him a wink. Brother Oscar, Jaina can't get up after being hurt by you. Brother Oscar, help me. Goose rabbit. End of this chapter. Chapter 223 YAN and -039. Your grandpa has been poisoned. Oscar stared at Douluo's current body, seeing the water snake's waist twisting and twisting, seeing the upturned. Well, this is what she asked for, not what I want to do. Oscar licked the corner of his mouth. He felt his lips were a little dry then. In the secluded valley, there was a different kind of voice. Don't think too much. This is of course the voice of their conversation. After a few minutes. Jaina, your current soul power is level 19. If you want to break through to level 20 quickly, you can't just rely on cultivation. Oscar said while hugging Du Guyan's waist. Du Guyan was sitting in Oscar's arms at this moment. Oscar hugged her slender waist, and her head rested on Oscar's shoulder. Her whole body became limp. She heard Oscar's words and said curiously, but the soul power can only be cultivated. Otherwise, is there any other way to improve it? Maybe others don't have other ways to break through, but Jaina, you can. And I can too. Oscar said seriously. Du Guyan straightened up, wrapped his arms around Oscar's neck and asked curiously, is there any other way to break through? That's right. Just now I looked up, because when I was insisting on your body just now, I accidentally discovered that you have a strong poison on your body. From my guess, the poison should have something to do with your martial soul. Oscar almost told the truth. His expression was slightly embarrassed. After all, if he told Du Guyan, he would be ashamed to ignore him as a love brother. Even so, Du Guyan's face turned red, as if he thought of something strange. But Du Guyan was very curious, because Oscar actually said that she was poisoned. If someone said that she was poisoned, she would never believe it, and would directly fight this person desperately. Because she is the granddaughter of the titled Douluo Dalu-themed Dugubo, and their family specializes in poisoning, and their poisoning skill is the best in the Douluo continent. How could they be poisoned? And the reason for the poisoning is still because of Wuhan. If she was poisoned because of Wuhan, wouldn't it mean that everyone in their family was poisoned, and they were poisoned by her own poison, and she suddenly thought that her grandfather Dugubo was also poisoned? No, it's impossible. Even though she has extreme trust in Oscar now, she doesn't believe that she is poisoned. She shook her head in disbelief and said, Brother Oscar, stop teasing Jaina. Jaina's grandfather is a poisoned Douluo. How could I be poisoned? You said I was poisoned. How did you find out? Seeing that Du Guyan didn't believe it, Oscar said anxiously, because I just tasted it. Du Guyan heard Oscar's words. Her small peach-like face suddenly became like a freshly ripe red apple. She buried her head in Oscar's arms, twisted her body, and beat it gently with her small hands, touching Oscar's shoulder. Oh, brother Oscar is so embarrassing. Oscar also knew that he might have used the wrong words just now, but now is not the time to be shy. He said cheekily, Jaina, I really didn't lie to you. You are really poisoned, but your poisoning is still very shallow, because your soul power has not yet reached the second soul ring, and your soul power is not strong, but now you have mild symptoms. Oscar whispered next to Du Guyan's ear, Yana, when you have something to do every month, whether it's cloudy or raining, will it be particularly painful, and you will still have the feeling just now? That kind of feeling? I feel like I don't need to describe it in detail. After Du Guyan heard it, her eyes widened instantly, and she looked at Oscar in disbelief, because what Oscar said was not wrong at all. Her symptoms were just like what Oscar said, very painful, but I am too embarrassed to tell other people, especially her grandfather. After all, how dare you tell the elders about this kind of girl's private affairs? So Oscar just mentioned her symptoms in one word. That means she was really poisoned. This turned out to be true. That means that her grandpa, titled Douluo, the most poisonous villain Douluo in the world, was actually poisoned. If this is said, people who are also titled Douluo will not believe it, let alone other people. And now she has very mild symptoms because of her lack of soul power. So wouldn't her grandfather have to endure even more pain? Do you feel? It's not right. Where does grandpa hurt? Du Guyan thought of this and wanted to ask Oscar, but how could such a thing be asked from the mouth of a girl like her? But if you don't ask, she doesn't know how much his grandfather was poisoned. Seeing her hesitation, Oscar knew what this little girl was thinking again. She is definitely worried about her grandfather Dugubo. Oscar hugged Du Guyan and said, Jaina, what you think is correct. Your grandfather Douluo Dugubo was also poisoned by his own poison, and his poison has penetrated deep into the bone marrow. Also, every time it is cloudy or rainy, he will experience numbness and itching on his ribs, and it will gradually increase. This state lasts for an hour, and it will appear once at noon and midnight, and his whole body will be paralyzed in the middle of the night. The pain is unbearable. There will be countless needle-like stings on the soles of the feet and the top of the head. If he didn't practice here often, he would have been poisoned to death by his poison. Du Guyan's delicate body softened immediately. He heard Oscar's words and kept recalling the time she spent with her grandfather. She found that during the time Oscar said, she had never stayed with her grandfather, and her grandfather once she avoided her with the excuse of going to the bathroom, which meant that her grandpa was really poisoned, and this was grandpa's biggest secret. And this secret was discovered by her love brother Oscar today. If it wasn't, because Oscar was already her love brother, she would definitely kill Oscar in an instant, but she is reluctant now, and Oscar has already said that perhaps Oscar will have treatment way. Du Guyan's eyes were broken, and he said nervously, "Brother Oscar, do you have a cure? It's okay if you don't save me, but you must save my grandpa." Oscar scratched the tip of Du Guyan's nose and said with a smile, "Silly girl, you are my sister. How could I not save you? Because your current soul power is still very weak. The poison in your body is not too strong. My current detoxification sausage will heal the toxins in your body, but my detoxification sausage is only to cure the toxins in your body. As long as if you practice soul power again, the poison in your body will grow again. To completely eliminate the poison produced by your martial soul, you need a soul bone. At that time, the poison produced by your martial soul only needs to be forced into the soul bone. This kind of thing may be difficult for others, but it is definitely very simple for Jadelyn Douluo." After Du Guyan heard this, a joyful smile appeared on her small face. "Does that mean that my grandfather can be cured as long as he forces the poison into his soul bone?" Oscar shook his head and frowned secretly. "It's not possible, because his poison has penetrated deep into the bone marrow. To completely cure the poison in his body, I need to add several kinds of fairy grass to my detoxification sausage, so that his poison will be completely cured. Only then will it be suppressed, and then the poison will be forced into the soul bone." End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224 Du Guyan K Love Sickness Heartbroken Red. Immortal Grass. Du Guyan frowned suspiciously. The name of fairy grass is very unfamiliar to Du Guyan, because she has never heard of medicinal herbs that are divided into immortal ranks, and even her grandfather Du Gubo has never said that there is such a medicinal herb as fairy grass, let alone her. She frowned and asked sadly, "Brother Oscar, where is he going to find the existence of this fairy grass? I have never heard of the existence of such a herb as fairy grass." Oscar smiled very inscrutably. "It's far away from the sky, and it's close in front of us. There are those few plants of fairy grass in your house." Du Guyan's expression changed from the sadness at the beginning to joy. "It turns out that there is one in their medicine garden. Brother Oscar is really bad. He even intentionally frightened me to see me punish him properly." Du Guyan sat on Oscar's lap. She twisted her body and rubbed against Oscar's body as if a snake was crawling on the ground. It was very dishonest. Oscar babbled and frowned as he felt the heat coming from his thigh. What is she trying to do? She's playing with fire. Doesn't she know? Are you afraid that I will eat her? If you are so happy, now is not the time for Oscar to release himself. He hastily patted Du Guyan's buttocks and said, "Jaina, let's pick jelly grass first. Only after joining them can I create a detoxifying sausage that can heal your grandfather. From now on, you can eat my sausage with peace of mind." Although Du Guyan felt something was wrong listening to Oscar's words, he didn't refute him. After all, what Oscar said was right. It's better to pick the fairy grass that Oscar said first. Otherwise he couldn't feel at ease all the time. Even if he didn't even cultivate mood, not to mention eating Oscar's sausage, she might spit it out in her mouth. Reluctantly, Du Guyan stood up on Oscar's lap. She tidied up her skirt and the clothes that Oscar had pushed aside and said with a reddish face, "Brother Oscar, let's start. By the way, you just now is a flower vomiting blood one of them?" Oscar couldn't help stretching out a thumbs up and praised, "That's right, that flower is one of them, and it can only be picked with the blood of a destined person." Of course he didn't say that he had to think of his beloved to vomit blood in order to collect it. Wouldn't that mean that he was playing tricks? Doesn't Do Gu Yan have doubts about his feelings for her? He likes Di Guan very much. She is his woman. He doesn't want Di Guan to cry because of such a trivial matter. In the future she will understand his good intentions. Oscar brought Du Gu Yan to the side of Acacia Broken Heart Red again. Oscar was really annoyed when he saw the broken flowers that he refused to pick. He just wanted to spray another mouthful of old blood, but Du Gu Yan beside him stopped him. Du Gu Yan stretched out his hand to stop Oscar's squatting body and said, "Brother Oscar, you just pooped several times just now, which proves that you are not a predestined person. If you vomit blood again, Jaina will feel bad. Let Jaina try. Maybe I will be this destined person." Oscar nodded. It was too much effort for him to pick the Acacia Broken Heart, and now there is Du Gu Yan beside him. It is impossible for him to pick the Acacia Broken Heart with a woman in mind, because he was flustered, and he was nervous. Seeing that Oscar agreed with her opinion, Du Gu Yan squatted down and looked at Acacia Broken Heart. The appearance of Acacia Broken Heart made her feel a little sad, as if Oscar was about to leave him. It was so strong that she couldn't help but tug at her heart. "Brother Oscar, you won't leave Jaina, will you?" Du Gu Yan looked back at Oscar and laughed. Oscar nodded. He didn't lie to Du Gu Yan because he didn't want to leave here, because he didn't want to get the love sickness heart broken red. If he would definitely leave after picking it before, but now Du Gu Yan is his woman. He should eat it as well. It's time to touch it. He can't eat it, wipe it up and leave. At the very least, he had to wait for Du Gu Yan to break through to level 20 with an additional soul ring before leaving. Seeing Oscar's affirmation, Du Gu Yan's heart no longer hurts. She looked at Acacia Heartbroken Red and found that Acacia Heartbroken Red seemed to have become her brother Oscar in an instant, and she was in bed with brother Oscar, tossing clouds and rain, living a happy life without shame. This made her face turn red like a flaming red apple. At this moment, she spat out a mouthful of blood, and at this moment, Acacia Heartbroken Red emitted a dark red light. Very strong, but this just proves that it has reacted. Du Gu Yan stretched out her hand happily and picked the Acacia Heartbroken Red. Ordinary people can recognize that Du Gu Yan is now worried about his grandfather, and it is still very difficult to recognize the Lord with distracting thoughts in his heart. Brother Oscar, you see I succeeded. Du Gu Yan held the Acacia Heartbroken Red in his hand and handed it to Oscar. Oscar smiled and stretched out his hand to put the love sickness Heartbroken Red into his little black snake belt. He didn't understand how to store these fairy grasses. Although the little black snake belt could store these flowers and plants, what was not contained, these flowers and plants with it will definitely be very fast. But Oscar has a system space, and storing these jelly grasses is really easy for him. Although it looked like he stored the grass jelly in the little black snake's belt, in fact he stored the grass jelly directly in the system space. He finally felt relieved after getting lovesick Heartbroken Red, but since he has already come, of course he will not return empty-handed, and now he has the existence of Healxiankyluo Immortal Grade, so it can be said that he is invulnerable to all poisons, and he can definitely be here chattering casually in the medicine garden. But he didn't want to chew too much, because he didn't know other fairy grasses either. He can only pick a few kinds of fairy grass that he knows, such as Kerangtangshan chrysanthemum and so on. After a round of picking, Oscar picked all the kinds of fairy grasses he knew. Du Gu Yan took Oscar to the legendary cave. In the cave, Oscar made a detoxifying sausage and gave it to Du Gu Yan. "Jaina, eat this detoxifying sausage first. Then the toxins in your body will be cleared." Du Gu Yan took Oscar's sausage and ate the sausage without thinking. She had unconditional trust in Oscar. How could her love brother hurt her? Even if it hurts her, she is willing. After Oscar watched Du Gu Yan eat his sausage without thinking, his expression became very serious, and he said to Du Gu Yan, "Jaina, you must promise me that you will not tell anyone what I will say next. This of course includes your grandfather. Can you promise me?" Du Gu Yan nodded without even thinking about it. The so-called married daughter, the water that was thrown out, she now belongs to Oscar. Of course she has to be with Oscar. How could she be so sorry? What about the Oscars? End of this chapter. Chapter 225 helped Du Gu Yan break through. Since Oscar attaches so much importance to it, it means that what he said next is a big secret. If she reveals this secret, maybe her lover brother Oscar's life will be in danger, and now he actually wants to tell her this secret. That is to say, Oscar already regards her as a family, to be precise, as a lover. Since Oscar already believed in her so much, how could she put her lover in danger? So she agreed to Oscar without the slightest hesitation. Brother Oscar, don't worry, I won't take anyone's word, including my grandfather Douluo. If I say it, I, Douluo, will be corrupted by 10,000 poisons. Oscar hugged Douluo's waist. Of course he would not let Douluo utter such a cruel oath. He just asked Douluo to promise and explain to her the importance of his secret. His mouth touched Douluo's lips again, and Douluo was even crazier than before, immediately causing Oscar to fall into a passive state. Even Douluo's hand was groping for something. Oscar's eyes widened suddenly. She was going to have something very exciting with him, but this is Douluo's territory. Wouldn't it be courting death to do this in Douluo's house? Who knows when Douluo will come back? He was fine outside just now. Why did the cave start to do this with a little green light? This really needs to be controlled. Controlled and controlled. Just when he couldn't control it, Douluo actually separated from him. Douluo stuck out his tongue and said mischievously, he brother Oscar is in trouble today. Jaina has something to do. Oscar was speechless. The lone star of the evil spirit. How did this catch up with such a coincidental time period? Wouldn't it be better to be earlier or later? It won't be so up and down later. Seeing Oscar's expression now, Douluo leaned close to Oscar's ear and said, Brother Oscar, Jaina still wants to eat sausages. Good guy. Of course Oscar knows what Douluo is going to do. Isn't it just another detoxification sausage? He didn't stop it, but he didn't agree either. As Douluo's small face turned down, a big white steamed bun that he stored that could enhance the soul power appeared in Oscar's hand. Jaina, eat this steamed bun first, and it's not too late to eat the detoxification sausage after you finish eating, Oscar said with a very serious expression. Douluo blinked her eyes and puffed her face with reluctance. Is her love brother stupid? He doesn't know what people mean. Let people eat steamed buns. If you don't let the food down. If I eat again, Douluo will be a puppy. Douluo snatched the big steamed bun from Oscar's hands, took a big bite of the steamed bun angrily, completely took the big white steamed bun as Oscar, to relieve his hatred. A big steamed bun was wiped out by her in a few bites, and Oscar took out another steamed bun, and said to Douluo with a smile, Jaina, if you eat this, you will know my secret. Douluo had a black line on her face. If it wasn't for Oscar playing tricks on her before, and kissing her small mouth all the time, she would definitely think that Oscar is a steely straight man now. And I was very obedient, and ate a big steamed bun, but you actually gave someone another one. Isn't that feeding her like a pig again? But she didn't reject Oscar either, because she believed that Oscar would not lie to her. Brother love was always brother love, and she ate a big steamed bun again under Oscar's expectant eyes. The reason why Oscar took out a steamed bun before was because he thought that Douluo would be full after eating a steamed bun. Of course, this is not to say that Douluo is so edible, but that Oscar forgot that Douluo is a man who is bigger than him. Girl. Douluo's appearance is very tender, and she keeps calling him love brother, which makes Oscar unknowingly think that Douluo is a little sister younger than him, so he took out a steamed bun, so it made him feel very embarrassed. His girls wanted to help him with that, but he actually took out 2 dry steamed buns for the girls to eat. If Douluo hadn't developed feelings for him, his behavior would definitely make any girl feel extremely disgusted. Even if you go to Crispy Tiger Bun, the big sisters there will dislike it to the extreme. It's like Aozhou looking for a few big sisters to eat and shoot cucumbers. Douluo ate the steamed bun under Oscar's expectant gaze, but she didn't feel any difference. After she ate it, she opened her small mouth, just as she was about to ask Oscar what the secret was. She suddenly felt that her soul power had skyrocketed. That's right, it was skyrocketing. This skyrocketing trend can be said to be an explosion, making her original 19th level soul power reach 20 level soul power in an instant. She felt her soul power level. She looked at her love brother Oscar in surprise and disbelief. Now she finally understands what her loved brother Oscar said about being able to improve her soul power. Oscar can improve her soul power because he has such a steamed bun, and she can improve her soul power because she has Oscar as his loved brother! Exclamation mark. Oscar smiled and said, Jaina, congratulations on breaking through to the 20th level of your soul power. You are right, this steamed bun is the food that can improve your soul power. My soul power is not level, as I said before, but my soul power is level. Soul sect. Douluo Yan's small mouth opened slightly. What Oscar said was really surprising. He could actually make food that enhances soul power. No wonder he didn't let her tell her grandpa. The less people know about this kind of thing, the better. If it is exposed, not even a titled Douluo can save Oscar. Oscar will definitely bury the top strength in the Douluo continent, or be killed directly. Such a monster in the Douluo continent cannot be allowed to exist at all. Because of the existence of Oscar, the strength of any faction can be multiplied several times in just a few years. This monster is enough to make Oscar die 10 million times. Douluo Yan was even more surprised when Oscar's soul power reached level. Douluo Yan was not surprised by Oscar's soul power level, but because of Oscar's strength and his detoxification sausage. Coming here means that Oscar might not have been sent by her grandfather to help her practice. Oscar stretched out his arms to hold Douluo Yan's tender body tightly and said, Jaina, you are right. I'm indeed not sent by your grandfather to help you cultivate. I came to the Sunset Forest to hunt and kill soul beasts. The one who added a soul ring accidentally came here. Douluo Yan nodded in Oscar's arms. Now it doesn't matter whether Oscar was sent by her grandfather. The important thing is that she has someone who loves her, and she also has someone she loves. That's enough. Oscar has conquered her, but she is not sure whether she has conquered Oscar. Before, she was confident that Oscar had been conquered by her, but now after she knows Oscar's talent, she feels the distance between her and Oscar. The difference is too great. It feels like you are not from the same world. In order to conquer her lover Oscar, Douluo Yan slowly slid down on Oscar's body. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.